Is underway with the Robert Yates Racing team.
There has never been a question about the owner's passion for speed. For 31 years, engines and racing have brought Robert Yates pain and glory. Today could be the culmination of their long struggle. Can these two men put it all together? Will number 88 bring home their first ever Winston Cup championship?
Winston Cup racing has come to Southern Florida, and Southern Florida is putting on one heck of a show, welcoming people to the #1 spectator sport in this country, the fastest growing sport in America. A huge crowd on hand. This is it. This is NASCAR. This is the first ever running of the Pennzoil 400, presented by Kmart and brought to you live today by NBC Sports. Good afternoon to you. I'm Brian Williams, NBC News. Though on loan today, the good folks at NBC asked if I would bother hosting, in effect, my own hobby, a love of this sport, and trying to convey some of the excitement that NASCAR brings to the folks here and the folks joining us across the country and around the world today on television. A big day for this sport. We very well might see the Winston Cup awarded here today to a 42-year-old from Hickory, North Carolina, Dale Jarrett, driver of the number 88 car. He has to finish 8th or higher. It will be a huge drama throughout the afternoon, along with all the other stories we need to cover all the way through the lineup of cars. NBC Sports has assembled quite a team to cover all the action today. Let's go up to the booth and Alan Bestwick. Alan.
Brian, thank you. A great pleasure to be here on behalf of NBC today to bring you the inaugural race from this Homestead-Miami Speedway for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. And the championship is the headline story. Dale Jarrett leading Bobby Labonte, potentially locking up the crown today. Joining me for the call of today's race, 6 times a Winston Cup winning car owner in 1999, Coach Joe Gibbs. Joe, Bobby Labonte, he's your driver chasing Dale Jarrett for the championship. Dale drove for you earlier in his career. Your emotions on this are what?
Dale Jarrett shared with me the very first time. He said, Joe, I got in a race car and made the first lap. I knew that's what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, was race a race car. He spent the next 25 years crisscrossing the country, taking Kelly and the kids with him, and now he stands just a few hours away from that coveted prize, the Winston Cup Championship. Bobby Labonte, on the other hand, also came from a terrific racing family. His dad is mentor, a brother a champion. But Bobby's in a different situation. He knows, yes, something big would have to happen to Dale for him to have a chance, but he also is trying to protect himself from Mark Martin just behind him. So what's at stake for these two guys? To be recognized as one of the 2 best in the world at what you do, and also millions of bucks.
Lots and lots of money. Now, also joining us for the call of today's race, a winner here at Homestead in a NASCAR truck machine in March of this year, Mike Wallace. Mike, a pleasure to have you with us. One of the other major headlines of the weekend so far, Pontiacs and a dominance in qualifying.
Well, definitely do, Alan, along with the racetrack. We got a 1.5 mile flat racetrack. It's a temperamental, narrow groove racetrack. The spoilers on the Pontiacs are a little bit taller. That's been the conversation in the garage area right now. There's 8 Pontiacs in the field, 6 in the top 7. We don't know if it's going to hold up under race conditions, but right now they have a little bit of advantage in qualifying.
So will the Pontiacs dominate in the race? Will Dale Jarrett lock up the Winston Cup Championship today? Those the major stories. Let's hear from Jarrett now. He's with Marty Snyder.
Well, Alan, not only this year, but for many years, the 88 bunch and Dale Jarrett have worked so hard just to get to this point. And Dale Jarrett, as you sit on the cusp of your first Winston Cup Championship, describe your emotions as you get ready to strap in.
Excited, a little bit anxious, a little bit nervous, too. First time at a racetrack, I think that you don't know exactly what to expect. We think we've got a good setup in the car, but you just never know. So we'll just have to work with it. But I think that we've got a car capable of finishing in the top 10, definitely.
Well, just 12 days shy of his 43rd birthday. What a present the Winston Cup Championship would be. Dale Jarrett today trying to win it this afternoon. Now let's go to Dorsey Schrader.
Thanks, Marty. Bobby Labonte, you currently lie second in the points championship, but man, what a fantastic season you guys have been having. Tell us about that.
It's been great. You know, this year we've had a lot of fun. We've run better at racetracks that, you know, we didn't run good at last year, so we improved a lot on our season, and we've been consistent and run up front most of the races, and that makes us feel good. We're second in points. We would love to stay there.
I don't think we can catch Dale unless something happens to him, but Mark's right on our tail, so we got to keep going.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, folks. Bobby Labonte's going to take this championship points battle right down to the wire. Now let's go down to Mike Massaro.
For the third week in a row, David Green has had Hendrick power underneath the hood of his Pontiac, and this weekend it certainly paid dividends. A lap time of 155.759, good enough for your first career Winston Cup Series pole. David, described the emotion of sitting on the pole for today's inaugural Pennzoil 400.
Well, a lot of satisfaction, you know, for 3 years of hard work and learning the ropes in Winston Cup, now to be able to do it. And secondly, for 6 or 7 short weeks, joining Tyler Jet Motorsports and 10-10-3-4-5 Pontiac team, it's been excitement 100% each and every week.
Well, David Green will lead the parade this afternoon. Brian?
Mike, thank you. Southern Florida ready to host a massive event today as you look at the port of Miami. If you're a NASCAR fan, if you've ever been to a Winston Cup race, you know this is the time to make calls, gather friends and family together, and hunker down as we will do. NASCAR Winston Cup, crowning the future champion perhaps here this afternoon, is next.
Most people know me as a professional golfer, but I also have several car dealerships across the country. That means I have to know something about taking care of cars, because the last thing I need is an unhappy customer. That's why I use quality Pennzoil motor oil in the service department of all my dealerships. That way I can count on a long drive for everyone.
Stop. Go. Pennzoil.
You know, my first racing days were pretty rough. With my wheels set so close together, I was always getting loose in the turns. Now that I'm trading paint with the big boys, wider is better.
The Wide Track Grand Prix delivers precise control in the corners. No wonder it's been selected official pace car of NASCAR.
There's no getting around it. Wider.
Wider is better. The Wide Track Grand Prix by Pontiac. Now you can lease the 2000 Grand Prix GT sedan for as low as $275 a month. Call for important lease details. See your local Pontiac dealer today.
With the AT&T one-rate 7-cent plan, calls are just 7 cents a minute all day, every day.
What about Canada?
What?
Canada.
Yeah, same thing. With the international plan, it's 7 cents a minute always.
What about all the other countries in the world? Japan, Mexico, Liechtenstein.
Liechtenstein.
All right. Every country has its own low rate.
What about France? France.
Same low rate as France.
Great. I'm going to go call France.
Which is right near France.
7 cents to Canada and great rates around the world. Call 1-800-4-WIN-RATE to enroll.
eNet.com, connecting you with the right technology product at the right price.
Defending champion Martina Hingis, Lindsay Davenport, Venus Williams, Serena Williams, and more. The Chase Championships, next Sunday on NBC.
This is the Sun America NBC Sports Desk. Here's Hannah Storm.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to our New York studio in the Sun America Sports Desk. We'll send you right back to Homestead and the Pennzoil 400 in just a moment. Following our NASCAR coverage at 4 o'clock Eastern, we'll bring you the Ironman Triathlon presented by Isuzu. In boxing, Lennox Lewis dominated Evander Holyfield last night in Las Vegas, capturing a 12-round unanimous decision to unify the heavyweight championship. But of course, this is boxing, so there was controversy. The International Boxing Federation, one of 3 governing bodies for the fight, did not award its belt to Lewis in a dispute over the $300,000 sanctioning fee. Now, turning to the NBA, 9 games last night, and the home team won all but one of them. We start with the defending champion San Antonio Spurs hosting Charlotte. The Spurs, in search of their 16th straight win at home, reserve Malik Rose came off the bench to score 14 points in 16 minutes. Tim Duncan was a force. 22 points and 12 rebounds, the Spurs win by 16. The Suns were in Minnesota to play the T-Wolves. Kevin Garnett had 16 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists. And teammate Radoslav Nesterovic was 11 of 12 from the field for a game-high 23 points. The struggling Atlanta Hawks squared off with the Trail Blazers. Isaiah Ryder scored just 14 points in his return to Portland, but this one was all Blazers. They led by 32 at the half to improve to 6-1 on the season. The Sonics, in the midst of a 5-game road trip, were in Detroit. Jerry Stackhouse poured in 24 points, and teammate Grant Hill had a game-high 34. Detroit wins by 8. The Bucks and the Cavaliers came down to the wire. Cleveland up by 2, 6 seconds left. When Sam Cassell is stripped by Bobby Sura, the Cavs hang on to defeat George Karl's Bucks. Elsewhere, the Bulls won for the first time, beating the Celtics by 1. There are no winless teams remaining. Indiana is 3-0 in its new arena after beating Washington. The Wizards have lost 6 in a row. Dallas got 28 points from Michael Finley to beat Orlando. The Mavericks snapped a 3-game losing streak. And Houston was the only road team to win last night. Rookie Steve Francis scored 27 as the Rockets beat the Warriors. We'll see a bit later on. Let's head back to Homestead for the start of the race.
This has been the Sun America NBC Sports Desk. Sun America, the retirement specialist.
Welcome back to Miami and the Pennzoil 400 presented by Kmart, and we are underway in motion for the first warm-up laps here at Homestead Speedway. The hottest car on this track in practice, one of those dominant Pontiacs, the number 20 Home Depot machine of rookie Tony Stewart. I was just in his trailer about 45 minutes ago. This is one very relaxed young man. His crew agrees. Very rare they're going along with the belief that this is, yes, in fact, the hottest car on this track. A cocky bunch, a young bunch. They are firmly out for victory today. If Tony Stewart wins, it'll be a record for rookie victories in one Winston Cup season. Back up to the booth and Alan Bestwick.
All right, Brian, thank you. While they make their parade and pace laps, let's take a look at the starting lineup for today's Pennzoil 400. On pole, David Green got his career best Winston Cup finish last Sunday. Got his first Winston Cup pole this weekend. He'll lead him to the green flag with John Andretti alongside. Row 2, Bobby Labonte chasing the championship, trying to overcome Dale Jarrett with young newcomer, I shouldn't say young newcomer Dave Blaney. Mid-30s for Dave out of Ohio. He moves to the Winston Cup Series full-time next year. Row 3 is Ward Burton. Scheduled to start in row 3, Rick Mast. His car involved in a crash in yesterday's final practice. He'll go to the back of the grid. There's Tony Stewart inside row 4. Everybody thinks Stewart is one of the men to beat in today's race. Jeremy Mayfield alongside. Row 5, Mark Martin and Jeff Gordon, a couple of favorites anytime in Winston Cup competition. Look for them to come to the front quickly. In row 6, Mike Skinner and the point leader Dale Jarrett trying to chase his first NASCAR Winston Cup championship today. A little deeper into the field, Joe Nemechek, winner of yesterday's race. He starts back in the 15th position. There's Joe in row 8. Ken Schrader starting back in the 18th spot alongside Jeffrey Bodine, who'll be in 17th. There's Kenny Wallace with Jerry Nadeau in row 10. Then in the 11th row, Jeff Burton, kind of a familiar theme for him in 1999. Not qualifying well, but coming up toward the front. Now, you'll notice as we look through the field, Dale Earnhardt there in row 12, a lot of cars carrying a little bit different paint scheme here this weekend at Homestead than normal. That's part of the way of teams and their sponsors showing that, hey, this race is a big deal. We do something special to commemorate it. A couple of special consumer promotions and that kind of thing driving those paint jobs. And you'll notice a number of the cars in the field looking a little bit different than you are normally used to seeing. Another car involved in a final practice crash yesterday was Kevin LePage, starting back in the 37th position. LePage also has to drop to the tail end of the field on the pace laps because of a backup car. There's Kevin, originally scheduled to start in row 19.
Well, it was very tough yesterday for him, Alan. Final practice, there was 2 cars. Of course, the 16 and the 98 ended up crashing. There was a little incident also over in turn 3 between Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon that didn't end up in an accident, but very tough little racetrack. We'll have to see how it all shakes out here.
Looking at Dale Jarrett, he is the man today, chasing the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship. Now, let's just clarify. We've said that Jarrett has to finish 8th or better to win the title today. That's if Bobby Labonte wins the race. Jarrett basically has to be within 45 points of Bobby Labonte at the end of the day to clinch the title. And there's proud Papa Ned, a 2-time champion himself, looking on from the roof, kind of serving as Dale's coach throughout the day. Not his spotter, but his coach. Here's again a look at what Dale Jarrett needs to do to clinch the Winston Cup title today. He needs a 186-point lead by the end of the afternoon because the most points Bobby Labonte could earn at Atlanta in the season's final race are 185. So 8th or better, 9th, if he leads a lap, 11th if he leads the most laps. And there's a familiar face driving the pace car. He's a serious face. That's a whole lot more serious than we usually see,
Oh,
Jay
you
Leno.
normally see him joking and everything. Looks really in tune to what he's doing there.
he's really locked down. Buster Otten on the left there in the white shirt, the normal NASCAR pace car driver.
Alan, I'm always amazed. I came over from football. In the football locker room, you can cut the tension with a knife. I came over here. I walked in the trailer right before the race, and there's Bobby Labonte, his favorite pregame meal, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And I'm saying to myself, you got to be kidding me. I'm so used to everybody so uptight, ready to throw up, and here's this guy eating a sandwich and get ready to race a race and go a couple hundred miles an hour.
Here's Tony Stewart, starting 7th today, the super rookie, winner one Sunday ago in Phoenix. We'll ride with Tony Stewart throughout the afternoon. And also outside of Stewart, Jeff Gordon. He's one of the drivers carrying a little different paint scheme today. Gordon starts 10th, seeking his series-leading 8th win of the 1999 season today. So the stage is set. NASCAR Winston Cup Racing comes to South Florida as the pace car is off the field off of turn number 4. 267 laps, the 400-mile distance today. The Pennzoil 405 on NBC. David Green leads into turn 3. Andretti falls in line second, side by side for third. Labonte inside. Dave Blaney riding the high line around turn 4.
Well, Alan, what you're seeing, it's very important to lead for 5 bonus points right here. David Green didn't want John Andretti to get by, and Dave Blaney trying to make a strong showing in that Pontiac.
What we saw yesterday, Alan, most of those cars in the Busch race, they want to get down. I talked to Bobby Labonte this morning. He said, Joe, if you're in the outside line, you can run it, but you're going to have to be a lot slower. Mike, he thinks that outside line is not the way to go. You see everybody trying to get single file.
Well, it definitely is. It's early in the race here. They want to get to the bottom. It's the preferred groove on this racetrack. A little bit more abrasive, for the tires there. You get more grip off the corner, and everybody's trying to get in line just to have a good race.
Man on the move in the early going is Jeremy Mayfield. He started in 8th position. He just slipped up to the inside of Dave Blaney, picked up the 4th spot. And here's a dogfight behind them. Ricky Rudd and Mike Skinner racing for 12th and 13th.
What you're going to see throughout the day, Alan, there won't be much of a dogfight if a guy gets underneath him, getting in the corner. The guy on the outside is going to let him go, fall in line, and then go racing.
There's Dale Jarrett down to the inside. On the back straightaway, Rusty Wallace moving over, letting Mark Martin slide by. There's Jarrett racing with Ward Burton. This is for the 8th and 9th position off turn 4.
What you're going to see is Dale Jarrett also trying to get to the front to get his 5 bonus points, try to work on winning that championship here today.
At the same time, in the early going, Jarrett has to be a little bit careful, knowing he could lock that title up today. I don't think he wants to open the door and let Bobby get back in by making a mistake.
Well, you know Bobby's record going into Atlanta. He always wins those races down there. It seems like it's closing into the year, so he needs to make it happen here today, I believe.
8th and 9th spots, Jarrett and Ward Burton. Ward up on the high side in the Pontiac. Jarrett down low in the Ford. Yeah, squeezing down in front of him off turn 4.
Alan, one of the things when talking to Bobby and Tony this morning, they said, what's tough about this racetrack, that it is flat all the way out to the wall. Most racetracks bank a little bit towards the wall. So if you get out towards that wall, they said you just keep going. And of course, that without that added bank out there, it's hard. Everybody wants to kind of stay in that lower groove. That's the fast one.
What you talked to the crew chiefs this week about, Alan, is that everybody's running real soft springs in the front of their cars, trying to get the most mechanical action on the tires, that they grip better because of the flat racetrack that Joe was speaking about. And you'll see the cars settle down very hard on the front nose getting in the corner.
Jarrett in 9th, Mark Martin in 10th. Right behind them, Rusty Wallace and Ricky Rudd in 11th and 12th. There you see that whole line of cars stacked up nose to tail. 5 laps in, 267 laps make up the distance, 400 miles this afternoon. Here at the mile-and-a-half Homestead-Miami Speedway. Let's check up on Dale Earnhardt, running back in 20th position. Earnhardt started 23rd, so he's picked a couple off in the opening laps. but hasn't made his way toward the front rapidly yet. It's going to take a little while for the race to settle in, and then if he's got a good race car, he'll start picking some of them off.
What you're seeing also in the first few 5 to 10 laps of the race, the air pressure is down. They start the air pressure down in the tires about 7 to 8 pounds lower than recommended air pressure. And what they're doing is leaving the pressures build up in the tires. The car will start handling better the longer the run goes.
Mike, the first time I saw our cars and first year in racing, I saw those tires low, and I said, oh my gosh, we got a flat. I mean, they're literally crinkled up. That's how little air pressure they have in them. As it starts to build up, the hotter it gets.
The King Richard Petty looks on as his driver John Andretti runs second. It is David Green leading early at Homestead. We'll be back with more in just a minute. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
Paper truck, Mr. Chang, down at the local deli, sells me morning coffee, wishes me good luck. This is for the people in my neighborhood. They help me through the day and make me feel good. This bus for you, and you, and you, and you. This bus for you, and you, and you, and you. This bus for bus drivers, cab drivers, local gas station guys, Sal and his brother make a mean pizza pie. Tattooed Tony in his cool muscle shirt. Maria on the corner looking good in a skirt. This is for the people in my neighborhood who help me through the day and make me feel good. This bus for you, and you, and you, and you. This bus for you.
With the blade set nearly, those first ice boats had a lot of speed, but not a whole lot of control. Oh, geez. Learn the hard way. Wider is better.
With its speed-sensitive steering technology, the wide-track Grand Prix gives you precise cornering and control.
Better air, better.
Wider is better. The wide-track Grand Prix by Pontiac. Now you can lease the 2000 Grand Prix GT sedan for as low as $275 a month. Call for important lease details. See your Pontiac dealer today.
These are Cobalt tools, the finest mechanics tools you can buy in any store. They've got contoured handles for a better grip. And the K-drive that grabs fasteners on the sides, not the corners, which means more torque, less rounding, and less slippage. So Cobalt tools can stand up to anything. Where I'm standing, that's a very good thing. Cobalt, setting the standard in mechanics tools. Made in the USA and guaranteed forever. At Lowe's Home Improvement Warehouse and online.
NBC's presentation of NASCAR is brought to you by Pennzoil with Pure Base, made for the way you drive. Stop, go, Pennzoil. By Brewery Fresh Budweiser, official beer of NASCAR. Hey, race fans, this Bud's for you. By the Wide Track Grand Prix by Pontiac, wider is better. And by Route 66, jeans, clothes, it's not Main Street, only at Kmart.
John Andretti is the new leader of the Pennzoil 400. NBC comes to you live from the Homestead-Miami Speedway with the inaugural NASCAR Winston Cup Series event here. Change in the top 5 positions in pretty wholesale fashion. Andretti by David Green. It happened just a couple of laps ago in this very same spot on the racetrack. Here it is.
Just a simple task. John gets to run on David there, and David's kind of checked up, lets him go. As we talked earlier, there'll be no racing 2x2 getting into the corner at either end of the racetrack early in the race here.
Now David washes out wide off turn 4, and both Bobby Labonte and Jeremy Mayfield slide up underneath him and go to the 2nd and 3rd positions. So Green back to 4th after leading the opening 7 laps of this event. And now it is John Andretti who heads this race early in the going. Now that guy in 2nd, he's got something he needs to accomplish here real fast.
Well, Alan, you'd think that most of the cars would kind of be taking it easy here, but as Mike mentioned, 5 points for leading the race. Now, you don't get up there very often. Bobby Labonte right now saying, hey, I need 5. If there's any way, he'll push this thing to try and get at least 1 lap in where he can pick up his 5 points in the championship race.
But you see, he's got a little distance to go before he can catch John Andretti and try and put a move on him. Let's go to pit road. Dorsey Schrader.
David Green was trying to work with John Andretti. John Andretti radioed in and said, I think I'm faster than you. My car's real tight in 1 and 2. If you let me by, we can work together. Well, guess what? When David moved over, his car is now tight in 1 and 2. He's suffering from letting him by.
All right, Dorsey, so you see David just barely in the frame there, top of the screen. He has fallen back to 4th position.
David shouldn't have followed for that one.
Yeah.
That happens sometimes. Hey.
Who is it that said a couple of years ago, any deal that's made on a racetrack is never going to be a good deal because if it's proposed to you, you usually are the one who's going to lose.
Well, and definitely what happened there, Alan, is John's car was tight, which would mean the front end is not turning when he's up behind him. And then what's happening, the air coming off the back of it is not getting on the front nose of it. So he was smooth enough to get David moved over, went on by, got clean air, and was able to plant the nose.
This is a race for 8th position. Dave Blaney in the 93 car, about to be overtaken by his teammate, Ward Burton.
Track quarter.
You heard the spotter stick in there and let Dave know where Ward was getting underneath them, let him know he's clear. Come on back down, get to the bottom of the racetrack, and go racing.
You were with us yesterday in our coverage of the NASCAR Busch Series event. Blaney was one of the drivers we talked about, along with Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Matt Kenseth, moving up to the Winston Cup level for the 2000 season.
They definitely are. They got some very, very strong race teams. Those two are teammates. Ward Burton and Dale Blaney are going to be teammates, or are teammates right now, and along with Matt Kenseth going to be going to the Roush team next year.
Here's Dale Jarrett riding with the point leader, running in the 10th position. Mark Martin has just bypassed Dale Jarrett for that spot.
I think one of the things about Dale, rarely makes a mistake, Alan. I think he's going to be willing to sit there today, let everybody else kind of let things shake out, make sure he protects himself, and he's going to be right there keeping an eye right down that racetrack on that green car, Bobby Labonte. Where is he?
Bobby running second, Jarrett running in 10th. So you see, as of now, 195 points between the two. So Jarrett doing what he needs to do to try and clinch the title if he can.
Joe, as a car owner, you would probably be telling your driver, we'll keep you in touch where you got to run. You don't have to win this race today. You just got to finish so many spots within what Bobby Labonte's doing.
Well, some car owners be doing that, Mike. I don't talk to my guys at all. They told me, you get in the corner and shut up. You're a football coach. You know nothing about this, and that's what I do. I pray. I'm not the technical owner, although some of the owners out here, Richard Childress, Robert Yates, some of those guys can do that, and I admire them for it. I didn't grow up in racing. I grew up in another sport, so I stay out of the way.
Let's go down to pit road, Marty Snyder.
Well, you guys talk about Dale Jarrett doing just what he needs to do. That's kind of the focus for these guys today. As we've talked about, he just needs to finish 8th, and they weren't very happy with the car at the beginning of happy hour. He said, I've got a top 10 car. But he said when he got out of the car at the very end of the race, guys, now I've got a top 8 car, and that's all they need to do this afternoon.
There you go. The man with the best car in the early laps in this race is John Andretti, driving Richard Petty's Pontiac there. Andretti leading 18 of 267 laps complete, while Dale Jarrett tries to lock up the NASCAR Winston Cup title. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
Before signing my work, I make double sure it's right. Just like Jiffy Lube's signature service with Pennzoil products. It's more than an oil change. It's all the services you need, double-checked and guaranteed. Then signed by the people who stand behind them. We give you our word on our work. Jiffy Lube's signature service, more than an oil change. Ask for Gum Out Professional, the fuel system cleaning service that cleans your engine from tank to tailpipe.
Winter driving can be a bit unsettling. So right now at Sears, you'll find all Goodyear tires on sale. Like our new all-season tire, the Goodyear Weather Handler LS. We're rolling them out with savings of $16 to $28 when you buy 4. That's a relief. All Goodyear tires on sale. Sears, the good life at a great price. Guaranteed.
A bear fell down the hill. What will I do? Mom, what's this word?
Sound it out.
Mountain.
That's right.
At last, the bear made it to the top.
You just read that whole book. Let's celebrate.
Okay.
Here you are. Thank you.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year, please.
This is a sport that brings families together. Most of the time, anyway.
You're mine today, buddy. That rooster's crowing a little early this morning, isn't it?
This is a sport where the hearts race every bit as fast as the cars. And this is a sport where some of its biggest fans are some of its smallest. This is NASCAR.
Think your workout's tough? Just imagine swimming through treacherous ocean waters, cycling 112 miles in brutal heat, and running a grueling marathon all in one day. It's the most demanding test of endurance the human body can experience. The Ironman Triathlon, coming up next on NBC.
Welcome back. Brian Williams with you from Homestead-Miami Speedway. A lot of attention being given the number 12 car in third place, the Mobil 1 car driven by the young man from Kentucky, Jeremy Mayfield. I talked with him before the race. He is on a rail right now. He's flying. Beforehand, he said, we got a new paint job. I love it. It just makes me feel faster out there. However, his owner, Roger Penske, when I talked to him, said, look, Jeremy's driving faster these days because he's got a new girlfriend. Faster he drives, faster he gets back to her. Alan, back to you.
Jeremy started this race in the 8th position. He is running third now, 2.9 seconds behind leader John Andretti, who continues to pace this Pennzoil 400 early in the going. You could see Andretti and Bobby Labonte, the first and second place cars, have put a little bit of a gap between themselves and Mayfield, who runs third.
Well, what it shows is the two cars up front are very much hooked up. They're running together good. Bobby Labonte, you know, his car is driving very well. Jeremy Mayfield's car is right on the bottom of the racetrack, and that's what you're looking for at Homestead.
Sometimes, and I say sometimes, if you got a buddy there, right where these two guys are right now, he might let his partner slip by to get 5 points. This kind of depends sometimes on that relationship. Doesn't happen, but if these two guys right here look like they're going hard. I don't see that here.
Here comes Bobby looking down low off of turn number 2. 5 bonus points for the championship if he can get by Andretti. He's going to follow him into 3 this time.
You know why John's trying to not make it easy for Bobby, and Bobby will probably make the pass as soon as I say this. There's 5 additional points for leading the most laps, and John is also in a points battle farther back in the field, and you know, if he can pick up another 5, it'd be good for him.
Andretti 16th in the championship standings now, in a tie for that position with Sterling Marlin. And remember that every position, the final Winston Cup rundown, means cash at the end of the year. John is making that inside awful tempting for Bobby. He's going to try him off turn 2 this time and down the back straightaway.
Coach is trying to coach him on here. I can see him moving his leg like, come on, Bobby, let's go.
There is some body language going on right there.
Yes, there is. He's letting him know he's there. He's pulling down to the inside to let him know he wants to try it, but just quite using that low side off the corner. Can't get it to stick. Is he going to make it work this time? Looks like he's got the nose up underneath him.
And it should be. John shouldn't race him into the corner here, and he didn't. Notice Bobby go on. Now he's trying to lead. And now Bobby's going to work on trying to lead this race as long as he possibly can. Go back to the 5 additional bonus points again.
So when he comes back around to the start-finish line, Bobby Labonte will officially lead a lap. He will collect 5 bonus points toward the Winston Cup Championship. Dale Jarrett is running in 9th position now. If Bobby leads the most laps and wins the race, Jarrett needs to finish 8th or better to lock up the title today. The leader's running up with the back of the first machine to go a lap down. Brett Bodine's car obviously ill handling here in the early going as Bobby goes to the outside of him and puts him a lap in arrears. Bobby Labonte's made a new friend. She is 12-year-old Cody Unser, daughter of 2-time Indy 500 champion Al Unser Jr. Cody was stricken this spring with transverse myelitis, a rare spinal cord infection, and she started her own foundation to help combat the illness. Labonte was not only the first to donate, but will serve as the honorary chair. And last weekend in Phoenix, Bobby's special guest got to say thanks in person and spread her motto among all that she met: it's not all bad.
Well, I think Bobby is very conscious of a lot of charity work he does, and having kids himself, Tyler, Madison, Donna there at home, I think this really touched Bobby, and I saw him kind of reach out, and I really was proud of him. He does a lot of things for the community.
Bobby got to race in this year's IROC Series, the International Race of Champions, as a substitute for Al Unser Jr., who backed out when Cody was befallen with her illness, and it was the money that Bobby won for Al in his place in that IROC Series that he used to start the donation process to Cody's foundation. So Bobby Labonte, top of the stack here, 3rd leader of this race. There you see some of the numbers on Bobby in 1999. Coach, pretty darned impressive.
I'd say the difference this year over our past years for our race team, we had a tough time with short tracks. This kind of track right here. And now the big turnaround is we run extremely well on these tracks, which puts us all the way across the board, and Bobby's been strong in each and every week. And I can remember the very first time we got on the pole in Las Vegas, I said, we've arrived. A flat racetrack. For us to do anything, that means we've arrived.
Marty Snyder has more on the leader down on pit road.
Well, it should be no surprise, and it's no surprise to these guys, or probably Coach up in the booth, that Bobby's running well. They knew they would be good on the long runs. They were a little worried about the short runs this morning. This is the third week in a row that Bobby has changed an engine on Sunday morning. They've been having some engine problems, but so far it's been pretty good for him. He finished third last week at Phoenix, and they've been running well. They know they are going to be good on these long runs, and they know also that their teammate Tony Stewart is going to be excellent on the long run. Now let's go to Mike Massaro.
Thank you, Marty. Very similar down here with the John Andretti crew. They are preaching patience right now. They're anticipating a very long green flag run and don't want to push it to the limits too soon. Talked with some of the members. They seem to think that the 43 car may be a little bit better than the 18 in the corners. However, on the straightaways, they say the 18 is just killing them. Alan?
Bobby Labonte and John Andretti, the top two drivers here. You see Andretti so far this season. We talked about that tight point race he was in. You saw he was needing to gain a few more points in this race to try and move up into the 15th and 14th positions. 31 laps into the Pennzoil 400 at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. Bobby Labonte is your race leader. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
Tonight, in the blink of an eye.
On the left!
Everything can change. And in the wake of a tragedy...
Are you okay? Everybody saw him do it!
Two partners finally come together. An all-new Third Watch, NBC tonight at 8, 7 Central.
Is your copier a loner? Fax machine shy? Computer not a team player? Come back here. Call Angle Business Systems and Toshiba, where the digital and integrated office is what we do. With efficiency, promoting a strong bottom line, and backed by certified technicians. Doing the job and doing it right. What's that? Changed our name? Hey, thanks for noticing. We're Angle Business Systems, and with Toshiba, connecting your office to the internet or the copier down the hall.
This is the gear. This is the time. This is Ford Truck Month. Now lease a 4x4 Ford Explorer for only $329 a month with no first month's payment and no security deposit and just $999 down. Or choose $1,000 cash back. So climb it, cross it, haul it. Ford Explorer for only $329 a month and just $999 due at signing. Or get a never-before offered $1,000 cash back on Explorer during Truck Month at your Quality Plus Ford dealer.
Boscov buyers have traveled the globe to bring you the world's greatest sale. Royal Velvet Towels. Only $4.99 for this special color collection of bath-sized towels by Royal Velvet. Imported from Italy, $13.99 for this 4-piece all-Italian leather group. Save 25% on our entire stock of Souter Lifestyle furniture. Bonus gift, $6.99 for this 12-inch tall, 24% lead crystal hurricane lamp during the world's greatest sale at Boscov's.
Live weather radar from Super Doppler 8. Music, coverage you can count on.
Back live at Homestead-Miami Speedway early in the Pennzoil 400, the inaugural NASCAR Winston Cup Series event here. Hey, log on to NASCAR.com for your online source to get all of the news on America's hottest racing circuit, news, results, a real-time look at the point standings before and after each race, plus audio wrap-ups and a special cyber chat with some of NASCAR's biggest stars. NASCAR.com, the official site of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing. By the way, after today's race, I wouldn't consider myself one of NASCAR's biggest stars, but they asked me to drop by for a little chat, so if you got questions about today's race or our coverage of it, we'll be on NASCAR.com about a half hour after today's race is over.
Biggest star of NASCAR. You got it.
Pretty knowledgeable
Don't start
guy,
with that. Don't start with that. Mark Martin's on the move pretty well here in the early going. Started 9th position. He has just passed David Green to take over the 5th position. There's David slipping back to 6th, and look at his car wash up off the bottom of the racetrack.
What's happening there, Alan? The tires are starting to wear. When they went to qualifying, David had that, pole qualifying run. The front of the nose was all taped up. All the grill openings were taped up, and he had all the aerodynamic downforce he could get. Now it's untaped, and they're just probably missing a chassis setup just a little bit, waiting for a caution to come. They come in and make an adjustment on it.
If there's not a lot of cautions, the cars, Mike, like you mentioned, that are good on long runs, they're going to have a big advantage on this racetrack.
Oh, they definitely are. You're seeing already. We've had some lapping already starting in the race, and the cars that have got the setup hooked up going, they're going to be pretty dominant here the rest of the day if it goes green for a long time.
The other thing, Alan, we talked about the points race for the championship.
Yep.
But there are all kinds of races all the way across this racetrack today, and when these drivers see somebody else. In some cases, it might be the guy they're ranked next to in points. You're going to see some very competitive racing there also.
Looking ahead from the championship leader, Dale Jarrett, at Jeff Gordon's car, washing wide off turn 4. Here's Jarrett trying to dive underneath him for 8th position.
Going right back to the chassis setup, going away just a little bit. Nobody's going to race hard right at this point of the race. They still got time to come in. They're going to have to stop for fuel and tires here not before long and make that adjustment.
Here's Mike Skinner going to go after Gordon, try and get him another position. So Gordon looking like he's struggling here in the early going, 38 laps in. Back to 10th position for Gordon now.
As a driver, that's a very frustrating situation. You've started the race, you're really good on new tires, and as you start to wear, and he's probably on the radio going, guys, it does not turn, help me.
He wants a caution right now.
Absolutely, he does. It's been an interesting last 6 weeks or so for Jeff Gordon. Of course, Ray Evernham and he splitting up about a month and a half ago. And then the last couple of weeks, there have been some headlines from within the Gordon race team. 5 members of his team leaving to go to the Robert Yates operation for next year. Its effect on Jeff Gordon's operation now.
I felt like we really got our focus back, went to Martinsville, won, went into Charlotte, we won there. I mean, things were going well. The pit crew, definitely threw us off a little bit because we weren't prepared for that. So that's probably one of the key things that we're looking at right now is replacing the pit crew. Right now we've got a great pit crew. They're doing a good job, but there are distractions. There is a little bit of focus taken off of our team. And any time in Winston Cup racing that you have that, you're going to be at a little bit of a disadvantage. So we've got to be able to put those things out of our mind, go out there, do our jobs, and work like the team that we've always been.
And there are some of the members of Jeff Gordon's team trying to do their work around crew chief Brian Weitzel. Jeff is talking of focus and this whole team concept. Let's get into that a little bit with you.
Let me say that this is a big deal. What the Rainbow Warriors did right here, they're no longer the Rainbow Warriors. They took off and left Jeff, and that's what he's talking about. Now, that's the disadvantage to having guys that are hired guns coming from the outside. You train them, they're going to be your pit crew, you bring them in from the outside. Well, what happened in this case, they really don't have the loyalty to the team at that point. They're not hired full-time. They don't work full-time in the shop. And so in this case, they jump ship and take off. Most of our guys, I will say this, all work in our shop. They're employed there. I think you build more of a loyalty from that standpoint. And I think this really shook Jeff up. This definitely hurt him. He loses Ray, obviously the person that's been there with him the whole time. But now I think this kind of, as he mentioned here in this little shot, I think this really affected his race team and shook him up.
Do you feel pressure as your driver, Bobby Labonte, comes up on the tail end of the field to put some more cars a lap down? Do you feel pressure to go out and have hired guns to try and compete on Sunday with some of these teams who do?
Alan, this is just like any other professional sport. You win with people. You have to pick the best people. If you're going to spend time in anything, it's picking your people. And so, yes, we go out and try and do the best job we can in every single position. Find the best person in NASCAR to come in and work for you. So it's a people business, and you want to keep them. And so that's the challenge, because most of us live right in Charlotte. A guy can pick up and go to work for somebody else, never move his home. Yeah. Very competitive, and so you try and offer as many things as you can to make your race shop the place that everybody wants to work.
You saw Bobby Labonte put a lap on Johnny Benson and Rick Mast. Look at Dale Earnhardt. Remember we talked about him earlier, hadn't really moved up a whole lot? Well, now as the laps roll along, he's rolling up through the field and picking up a lot of positions. So Dale Earnhardt moved up to the 12th position at this point. All this behind, though, Bobby Labonte, who continues to lead the Pennzoil 400 in Homestead. And Freddie, Stewart, Mayfield, and Martin, the rest of the top 5.
Sweetie? Can the monsters get me?
Not a chance.
When you've got ADT, you've got the power of advanced home monitoring technology.
Good morning, this is
The
Diana.
power of experienced professionals helping to keep you safe.
Okay. Calling the fire department right now.
From burglary, fire, flooding, carbon monoxide, even the occasional monster.
Call now and get ADT's sophisticated burglary system installed for as little as $99. Plus, get any one of these additional monitoring devices installed free.
And thank you for choosing ADT.
ADT helps protect more homes and families than any other security company in America. Call now and get the ADT burglary system installed for as little as $99, plus a free additional monitoring device. Sleep tight. Get the power of ADT.
Come on, girl, it's time to shake things up. Get a good groove, get out of the rut. Talking woman to woman, friend to friend, we've come a mighty long way. Let's do it again, changing for the better. Like we knew we could, doing it together. And it sure feels good. Change, 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 yeah, for the better.
Light, heat, and time are all enemies of beer. We can protect the beer from light with a brown bottle. We can protect beer from heat by ensuring that we keep it in a temperature-controlled environment. We then make sure that the consumer enjoys that beer as soon as possible. We are the only major domestic brewer that uses a born-on-dating system to ensure that our customers get the absolute best, most cared-for, most perfect beer they can buy.
NBA 2000, are you ready?
We're back at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Brian Williams with you. Dale Earnhardt, you see, moving up into the pack now, 12th after having started well down in the pack. Dale Earnhardt this weekend about as buoyant as I've ever seen him. Had a long talk with him yesterday. Okay, so he doesn't like the fact that the Pontiacs are rumored to have better downforce and do better on this track. He said, quote, "I'll show you downforce," and so far he is. He and owner Richard Childress really believe and insist up and down and all over. They've got a package ready for next year. They keep saying to all who will listen, look out for the number 3 machine. Alan, back up to you.
Brian, no question, Dale Earnhardt has had the best season this season he's had in a little while. Picked up 3 wins, and you know, for Earnhardt, it has been kind of a slump, if you will, over the last few seasons. But they do seem to have their whole operation coming back around, and Earnhardt is very emphatic that he is going to give Jarrett and Labonte and Gordon and the rest a run for that 8th Winston Cup championship in the 2000 season. He has just moved up and around Ricky Rudd. He's moved up and around David Green, and Rudd is trying to go with him as they go into 3.
I can tell you this, every driver out there respects this guy, Dale Earnhardt. I remember the very first time that Bobby popped Dale a little bit from behind. Bobby came on the headset and heard him say, "You tell him I didn't mean that. You tell him I didn't mean that." They got respect. Hey, this guy, believe me, when you see that black 3 behind you, watch out. They pull over.
Hey, you know, we laugh about that, but that's part of racing, Mike, is if you hit somebody, knowing whether or not that person's makeup is to come and hit you back.
Well, you know, Dale, over the years, has always been a very aggressive driver, and he earned the name Intimidator by that. He'll go up there and rub on you, boot on you just a little bit. No big deal, but you got to respect him for it.
I'd say this, too, though. When he's raced, this guy races for championships. You don't wreck when you're racing for championships.
Speaking of champions, here's Terry Labonte, the 96 and 84 Winston Cup title holder, who has not made a whole lot of progress toward the front, but that streak, look at that number on the left. Consecutive starts for Terry Labonte. He has just been an Iron Man. It's all, if you figure an average of 30 to 32 races a year for most of that time, he's been doing this a long time and never missed a beat.
And Bobby, his brother, racing for us, has broke his scapula twice. It has been out in the 4 years that he's raced for us. So this is kind of an amazing stat right here.
Unfortunately for Terry, he is not making his way up through the field as he would like to have today. He's mired back in 31st position after starting in 35th. So Terry not moving toward the front, which is a surprise because he seemed to have a pretty good car in yesterday's final practice. Bobby Labonte is your race leader, coming up on what should be green flag pit stops here in the next 15 laps or so. We're at 52 now. Expect a lot of the leaders on pit road around lap number 65. We'll take a break and come back with more in just a minute. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
This is the story of the undecked halls. She stood in a room with no Christmas cheer. But suddenly one day...
We're here!
The family of elves had been to Big K. Gotcha. All right. To bring in this merry holiday. Trees and bows and icicle lights. Wreaths and candles and ornaments bright. It was all so beautiful. Oh. Just one thing they missed. Now hurry back to Big K and pick up some gifts.
We will never, ever smoke up this house again. We are quitting with the patch.
Nicoderm CQ.
With the steps.
There's a lot to be said for steps.
Nicoderm CQ has 3 steps, so you can step down your dose gradually, the way doctors and pharmacists prefer.
Was this a great idea or what?
Commit to quit for the American Cancer Society's Great American Smokeout with Nicoderm CQ.
They say the ultimate test of a car battery is to put it into a New York City cab. So we did. Napa's new orbital battery is the first to store acid in leak-proof cells. That's important because it makes it virtually indestructible. More than we can say about the cab.
What did you do to my cab?
Napa, over 200,000 parts, and every one is important.
Taxi! That's one race that I wish I could run over one more time.
The legendary Daytona 500 has broken a lot of hearts.
I was way out front in 1981, and that thing ran out of gas.
In 74, I blew a tire with 12 laps to go.
But the biggest heartbreak of all would be trying to get into Daytona International Speedway using an American Express card. So if you want to enjoy the heart-pounding excitement of Daytona, bring your Visa card, official card of NASCAR.
My girlfriend let me here at Daytona. I sure miss that car. NBC Monday, a heartless murder.
So I have to tell you this, man.
An obvious suspect.
Convicted 11 years ago. Child molestation.
And when you think you know the ending, it doesn't end there.
DNA did not match the DNA we found on Ryan.
After all, this is Law and Order.
Jerk us around, we'll bury you.
Law and Order Special Victims Unit, Monday, 9, 8 Central.
A NASCAR postcard from South Florida. A beautiful 80-degree mid-November day. A full house in the grandstands. And the inaugural NASCAR Winston Cup Series event at the Homestead-Miami Speedway live on NBC. And flying high above the Speedway, the Bud 1 airship. To all racing fans, this Bud's for you. Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR, and the Bud 1 airship, proud to provide spectacular aerial shots of our event today. Bobby Labonte is the race leader. His teammate Tony Stewart has just moved around John Andretti to grab the second spot. Mark Martin is up to 4th now, with Andretti back to 3rd. And then you've got Ward Burton in 5th. The rest of the top 10 at this point are Dale Jarrett, Mike Skinner, Jeff Burton, Jeff Gordon, and Dale Earnhardt. Jeremy Mayfield missing from that equation. He was up in 3rd a little while ago, then back to 4th. He's just been on pit road for a green flag stop. Now we're at 58 laps in. How far do you think these guys are going to go before we start to see Bobby and Tony and some of the other front runners hit pit lane for fuel and tires?
Well, I'd say we're looking at pit stops somewhere between laps 64 and 68. We were surprised when we seen Jeremy roll down pit road. But what's happening to these guys, Alan? We're seeing Tony Stewart on pit road right now, along with Bobby Labonte. So I was off on my numbers.
59 laps they will complete as they cross the start-finish line on pit road, and the top 3 come down pit road all together. Bobby Labonte, Tony Stewart, and John Andretti. There you look, nose to tail. 45-mile-an-hour pit road speed limit today for the teams. We will cover stops with our reporters down on pit road as the leaders approach their pit stalls. First, we go to Mike Massaro.
John Andretti rolling down towards his pit stop now in the SDP Pontiac. He'll hit his mark. Teams off the wall. They're going to work on the right side first. 2 tires there. They'll also put in a can of fuel. They were complaining the car was a little bit tight, but so far, you can't see any chassis adjustments. Let's go to Marty Schneider.
Tony Stewart and Bobby Labonte are both in running similar setups but different problems. Bobby Labonte is a little bit looser than he would like, and he has an air pressure adjustment, and 28 has spun on pit road. Let's get back upstairs.
Yeah, Kenny Irwin has spun trying to get stopped to his pit stall. You see the star banner there on the wall behind him. And if you spin on pit road, that is a penalty and a significant one. He had the pit road kind of half blocked there for a minute, but has gotten it squared away and backed into his stall. And it's a good thing because the Land Rush is on for pit stops now at lap number 60. Here's Mark Martin in for service. Also in Jeff Burton, Kyle Petty, Dave Blaney, Rusty Wallace. Let's go down to Jeff Burton's pit stall and Dorsey Schrader.
Jeff Burton's come in, guys, and this was a long wait for him. His car is extremely loose. He didn't know if he could make it. They could have gone further on fuel, but they're stopping right now because it's very, very loose.
Tire change and fuel. Also complaining that
back car was tied in, blew south. They'll make an air pressure adjustment. They'll eliminate 1 pound of air in each tire except for the right front. Let's go to Marty Snyder.
Well, Dale Jarrett is coming down pit road. Mark Martin just left pit road a second ago, but here comes Jarrett, the championship hopeful today, bringing it down to 45 miles an hour. His car was a little bit tighter than he would like, but he's pretty happy with it. They're going to play it pretty conservative today. They are going to take 4 tires, and they're doing a wedge adjustment sort of to loosen him up just a little bit. Around to the left side now. As they come around to the left side, they will drop the jack here in just a second. And Jarrett, with a little bit longer stop than he would like, from down 16.5 seconds.
Now, Dale Jarrett led lap number 60 before he came onto pit road, so he has collected 5 bonus points toward the championship, negating Bobby Labonte's having led in this event. So now it puts back to 9th or better for Jarrett if Bobby wins the race today for Jarrett to claim the championship. Here's Mike Skinner. He led before coming to pit road. To Mike.
And he hits his marks absolutely perfectly. Teamed all the way around from the right side. Now back to the left side. A 4-tire change. 2 cans of 76 racing fuel. Caught up a little bit on the left rear, but they catch up, make up for that ground. They get him away in a good stop.
Jeff Gordon stayed on the racetrack, collected 5 bonus points for leading the lap as well. He will now come down the pit lane. This one at lap number 63. So Gordon, Mike Skinner, Dale Jarrett, and Mark Martin all leading for laps under this exchange of green flag stops. Let's go down to Marty Snyder on pit road for the Jeff Gordon stop.
And Gordon comes slowly down pit road at 45 miles an hour. They just have not had a good day so far. The car is a little bit tighter than Jeff Gordon would like. It's been tight all afternoon long. They're going to use a wedge adjustment. They hope that will loosen him up, especially for the longer run, because Gordon got tighter the longer he ran, and that's a characteristic not only of his car, but also this racetrack. Around to the left side for Gordon now. Pretty good. Nice quick stop for Jeff Gordon. He's back out on the racetrack.
Sterling Marlin takes over the lead before he comes down pit road for a stop. Then it should cycle back around to Bobby Labonte, who should come out with the race lead off the stops. We will catch that up here after the Sterling Marlin stop, who has stayed on the racetrack to this point, so he is in the lead of this event. Now, let me catch back up just for a second. Kenny Irwin got a 2-lap penalty for spinning on pit road, so he was held after they finished their stop for 2 laps. For the spin there, it drops him all the way to 42nd position.
What can happen there, Alan? Everybody talks about what's happening on pit road is that as he rolls down pit road, he's trying to get the car slowed down, and he goes ahead and shoves it in first gear. A wheel hop is what happens there, and it spins the thing out. Okay. You got to be very, very cautious of that, because what he was doing was carrying too much speed into the entry and jammed the gear, or it was just a bad break for him. That's what it was.
Now, here is the leader, Sterling Marlin, on pit road. To Mike Massaro.
Chevrolet to a complete stop. They'll go to work on the right side first. 2 tires there. No chassis adjustment so far. Just 2 cans of 76 racing fuel. They're going to take 4 tires here in this stop.
So Marlin's visit to pit road will complete the cycle of stops. Hey, that's a good stop. 16.5. Take that every time if you can get it.
Alan, one of the things about these pit stops show you how far we've gone. We have a workout room in our complex, all the weights. We have a personal trainer that comes in 3 nights a week that trains our guys that do these pit stops. They're paid a bonus on all this, on how well their stops go. If in our case, if we get a 15, I pay them so much. 16, I pay them so much. 17, we break even. 18, they pay me.
Really?
And so that's the way it works. This is a very important part of our racing.
Bobby Labonte comes off pit road with the lead after the cycle of stops. He had it before he cut down pit road for the visit there. Let's go back to Dorsey Schrader, who has a little more information for us.
Well, you want to wonder what happened to David Green's lead. Take a look at this. This is the right front tire off his car. It was very, very tight. These are the cords, guys. This was very close to blowing out. David Green needed this pit stop. They've made adjustments in air pressure and track bar, and they're back out again.
Wow.
Alan, what you're seeing there, what that's caused by is too much camber in the right front wheel. They gain a lot of camber, sticks the front end better, but wears the tires terribly.
Our Pennzoil stop-and-go pit summary. You see Bobby Labonte in first, out first. Tony Stewart in second, out third. And Ward Burton, probably, I don't want to say the big loser, but he gave up the most on that pit stop sequence. Came in 5th and has come out in 8th position. So we've just completed 67 laps of our Pennzoil 400. 100 miles into the event, it is Bobby Labonte leading. Dale Jarrett is in 8th position right now. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
We are here today working alongside Habitat for Humanity
You start with something that's just a slab of ground, and you help build a dream alongside the people that live in this home.
I came out to help build a house for Habitat for Humanity. And I came out to see Tony Stewart.
We have NASCAR involved, we have Joe Gibbs involved, we have Tony Stewart involved.
We got some cheap manual labor here.
There's something about a home that preserves memories for you.
This is going to be my own room.
It didn't scare you living in a house with Tony Stewart driving nails?
No. Habitat for Humanity is a way to bring people together to help other people.
We try to reach out to the community, really become part of the community, and we're here to really make a difference and to say thank you to the community.
You meet a lot of nice people. You know, everybody treats you like family from the first day, and it's just a great feeling.
The keys to the home, and
thank you.
You're very welcome.
That's them. Naughty little beavers.
Introducing the all-new Chevy Monte Carlo. Green. The side you should own is up to you.
People wonder, am I a point guard or a shooting guard? Jerry West, was he a point guard or a shooting guard? Clyde Frazier, point guard or shooting guard? Mike, point or two guard? I don't know either, but they were champions. It's our turn now.
On an increasingly hot day out on the track here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Welcome back. Brian Williams with you. So far, very fast, very clean race. We have not been under yellow because of any error here. Mark Martin has moved into 4th place in the Valvoline number 6 Taurus, starting at 9th. Everyone knows the diminutive powerhouse from Arkansas, the health food and workout freak. Mark Martin is about as consistent, though disappointing this year, only 2 victories this season, but about as consistent as you can get. He will end the 90s, having been in the top 10 every year for a decade. When the season is over, a feat very few can brag that they can match. Mark Martin in 4th, back up to Alan Bestwick.
Brian, thank you. With Joe Gibbs and Mike Wallace, we are pretty early in this event, just past the 1/4 point. 73 of 267 laps complete. And in the upper left of your screen, you see the rundown of the field after the green flag pit stops. Mark Martin there in 4th, behind Bobby Labonte, John Andretti, and Tony Stewart. Some of the rest of the top 10. There's Dale Jarrett in the 8th position now, doing what he needs to do to try and walk away from this afternoon's race with the 1999 NASCAR Winston Cup Championship trophy in his possession. Bobby Labonte has led the most laps to this point in the event, but Dale has led a lap and is running 9th or better, which is what he will have to do in order to win the title. Mark Martin, kind of the forgotten man in the championship chase for the last month or so. He is 3rd in the standings now, and he is some 314 points behind the leader, Dale Jarrett. It's been an interesting season for Mark, known as one of the more intense competitors in NASCAR. Away from the racetrack, though, he's pretty generous with his free time and gives much back to his community. Mark's seen here in a visit to the Speediatrics Child Pediatric Care Unit at the Halifax Hospital in Daytona Beach, Florida, helping critically ill and injured children to be cared for near their homes and families. Mark Martin running 4th in today's race as he continues to charge around in pursuit of victory. Here is out the back of Steve Park's machine as he runs in 24th position, trying to stay in front of the leader, Bobby Labonte, but Park up the racetrack in 4, and he's not going to keep Bobby behind him very long like that.
We talk about Mark Martin. I came over from football. I'm used to those great big guys. And I remember the very first time I walked out there, I see this Mark Martin, this star. I said, how could that guy drive a 3,000-pound car? Look at this guy. Very strong, very competitive, very tough guy, and a very, very good athlete.
As Labonte goes up underneath the Steve Park car, trying to put him a lap down. It's been an interesting season for Park. Really come on in the second half of the year. Top 15 finishes the last 7 weeks. In the last 9 races, his worst finish is 16th. Park's had a couple of hard wrecks here at Homestead in testing a year ago, November, and then just the other day in a NASCAR Busch Series machine. And the shark teeth are not as sharp as he would have liked here today on that machine, as he's just been overtaken by the leader, Bobby Labonte.
Well, that's definitely true, Alan. What he was trying to do, he does not want to go a lap down. It makes for a long day right now, you know. Once he's a lap down, he knows he's not going to be fast enough later in the race to make that lap up, and he's just going to have to work for the best finish he can. And, you know, what's unfortunate, this race is unfortunate as a driver. From the driver's position, this race has went green the whole way, so they haven't got any time to get in there to adjust on the car. And when you got cars like Bobby Labonte up front leading, who's hooked up, set up, running very well today, he'll put the whole, you know, a lot of the field down a lap quick.
Dale Jarrett, though, doing what he needs to do to try and clinch the title. You see, he's only well, he's got a 193-point pad, rather, on Bobby today. He needs a lead of 186 at the end of the afternoon in order to take home the trophy. This would be a race for the 12th and 13th positions. Kyle Petty there in the 44 car, and Jeff Gordon working his way to try and get up back and around Kyle. Gordon has lost a couple of positions. He started this race in the 10th position, and now he's back in 13th spot.
For so many of us, we're used to finding these cars and all these special paint jobs. Sometimes I'm going, where did they go? Where's Gordon? Is he out? There he is, but it's a different looking car. I have a tough time picking him up.
You look at that out on the racetrack, it's fairly easy to confuse it with Ricky Rudd's car. Gordon's team, one of a handful, carrying a paint scheme to promote a new NASCAR-themed cartoon show that's going to be hitting television next fall. So that is why the different paint scheme there for Gordon and company today here. And your car, Joe, with Bobby as well, carrying a little bit of a different paint scheme. Gordon not running as strong as we might have thought. Marty Snyder has more on Jeff Gordon's car. Marty?
Well, it's just not been a good weekend for Jeff Gordon and the Rainbow Warriors. They started 10th, currently running 13th. I talked to Brian Weitzel, the crew chief, this morning. He said that was the worst happy hour we've had all year long. First of all, it was caused mainly because of the sun. It was in Gordon's eyes when he was going down the front stretch. And when it was in his eyes, he wrecked with Dale Earnhardt. They collided together. Mike Wallace mentioned that at the beginning of the show. They started to make adjustments to that slick racetrack yesterday afternoon when the sun was going down. But then Jeff said, hey, wait a minute. This is not how the racetrack's going to be tomorrow. Let's back up. Let's start the race where we started this practice, and let's start all over again. That's what they did. They're still not very happy with the race car. It's a little bit too tight. Gordon falling back a little further than he would like as well, and he still has a tight race car even after that last adjustment.
If you're new to NASCAR, a tight race car is one in which the front end is not sticking as well as the back end and wants to slide up the racetrack in the corner and go straight when you're trying to turn it to the left. And there's only one way really to fix that, behind the wheel.
And that's make adjustments. So for a period of time right now, they're just having to drive different. But to hit on what Marty said a second ago, last night these guys basically practiced almost in the dust, the dark. And a lot of times the racetrack is a lot different at that time. Now we're in the sun, and the racetrack's doing something totally different. They made those adjustments, and they need more time to work on the cars. They need some more pit stops to get in and make adjustments.
Fixing the car on pit road, yes, that's the only way to fix it. But from behind the wheel perspective, Mike, the only thing Gordon can do is lift off the gas.
He can lift off the gas.
Stay out longer.
You know, he just got to try to, Jeff Gordon is probably one of the best at finding the line that works on his race car.
Riding with Dale Jarrett, doing what he needs to do to try and lock up the NASCAR Winston Cup Series championship for that man, Robert Yates, the famed team owner. We'll hear more about Robert Yates in just a moment. First, Bobby Labonte leaves, and you're watching NASCAR on NBC.
$10 for lunch? I heard of a guy got a brand new car for that.
Sounds like a Darrell Waltrip story.
Oh, I swear it's true. This guy was at the track and sees this notice. His brand new hot rod, $10.
No, it's not a misprint. Stop by and see for yourself.
Turns out her husband met this little gal at the track, and he ran off to Tahiti with her. And he told his wife to sell the car and send him the money.
Now at Kmart.
AT&T, 7 cents a minute, all day, every day.
Take one of these. That'll be 25 cents. But it says here it's a nickel. Not for a couple of hours. What? Well, see, sometimes it's a nickel, but right now,
It's a quarter. It's like that long-distance nickel plan where they say it's a nickel.
Sometimes they charge you 25.
That's right.
That's where we got the idea.
Is that right?
7 cents a minute, all day, every day, even to Canada with our international plan.
You know, there are some stores that sell candy for one low price all day long.
And people like it?
Oh, they love it.
Call 1-800-41-RATE to enroll.
How's the car, Dale? A little tight off. 0 cars moving up. Let them on inside.
Inside every member of Team Monte Carlo, there's a side that's kind of wild.
Get another tire.
Team Monte Carlo.
Animal.
Pardon me. This year, they're hungrier than ever.
Hey, Jeff. Now, listen, I got it right here, buddy. It's icy cold and tasting great. Now, come on, Jeff. You tell me, is there anybody in this world who deserves this here Pepsi more than you?
Hi, Jeff.
See you later, Jeff.
Now, that's what I call motivation.
I don't know where she came from.
Don't worry, Jeff. There's always Daytona.
Monday, 8/7 Central. All new World's Most Amazing Videos is back. Ordinary People Cheating Death. World's Most Amazing Videos. NBC Monday, 8/7 Central.
Brian Williams back with you. The banner above Homestead-Miami Speedway says it all today. That's Ned Jarrett on the bottom, the former champ himself, and now his son, Dale Jarrett, who today could leave this track with the Winston Cup. There's been a lot of attention, of course, about the driver, the number 88 machine, Dale Jarrett. But what about the owner, Robert Yates? He's had 7 different drivers on his teams. Jarrett is special. Now, Yates is a guy who's happiest when his hands are on an engine block, but he'll take these victories, too. He's always had that special gift of making a body of metal and fuels combust into raw speed. For 3 decades, Robert Yates has hovered over his precious propellants. These are not just motors, they are some of the most requested engines in NASCAR. But his latest creation may finally bring the greatest joy. The race car that he owns is the fast car that is just laps away from a championship.
You get a fast car. I want to take it to anywhere. Maybe we make a deal. Maybe together we can get somewhere. Any place is better. Starting from zero, got nothing to lose. Maybe we'll make something. Me, myself, I got nothing to prove.
Yates had his first major test of success as the engine builder for Bobby Allison's 1983 championship season. But it would be as car owner and mentor to Bobby's son, Davey Allison, that brought Yates back into victory lane. Highly unlikely wins came Davey's way during his 1987 rookie season. By 92, Yates and Allison were Daytona 500 champions and headed to the final race in Atlanta in the points lead. A late race crash dashed their high hopes, but the greatest tragedy was yet to follow. July 1993, in between races, Allison piloted his new helicopter over to see a fellow competitor test at Talladega Superspeedway. Davey Allison lost control and died in the hospital 1 day later. A stunned Yates watched bedside as a young man who had become like a son left this earth much too soon.
When we walked into that hospital, I just wish that the whole world could have seen the expression on his face, knowing, you know, that Davey had been hurt and knowing that he was there trying to do everything he could to make it better, but in a situation like that, he couldn't make it better.
Yates carried on into the 1994 season. Former Daytona 500 winner Ernie Irvin was now wearing the black and red colors, and it was no surprise that they were again headed down a championship contending path. But during an August morning practice session at Michigan Speedway, Irvin crashed just 1 lap shy of his scheduled run. He was given a 10% chance of living. Miraculously, Irvin won the fight for his life and came back to race and win, but it was a large price to pay for victory.
With Ernie, we thought the worst. We actually thought he didn't make it. You have a lot of responsibility, whether you're an engine guy or a chassis guy. You have great responsibility to not do things too risky. You have a lot of responsibility. And when someone gets hurt, even if you've done everything just right, still, you know, it weighs real heavy on you.
Yates debuted the new number 88 team in 1996. The new combination of Dale Jarrett and crew chief Todd Parrott served up an upset at the Daytona 500. Determined to prove they were not a fluke, this collection has grown and matured. They win races. They're poised to win the biggest prize, all under the guidance of a man who has never forgotten where he came from.
Robert's father was the same way. Robert's father was a Baptist minister for 55 years, and he raised 9 children on $25 a week.
I think you just watch his expression, you know, the way he talks to people, the way he treats people, and he'd give you the shirt off his own back if it was only shirt.
He has a heart of gold, and if he tells you he's going to do something, you can bank on that. And he always has everybody else's best interest at heart.
You got a fast car. It's fast enough so you can fly away. You gotta make a decision. Leave tonight or live and die this way.
Robert Yates, live, watching from the pits, watching his driver. I must tell you, since we've been watching that profile, we got a little bit of news. Dale Jarrett just called into his pit and said, quote, "I'm going to get a little more aggressive." When that happens, that means Robert Yates could leave here today a Winston Cup winning owner. Back up to you, Alan.
Brian, thank you. He is in position to do so right now. Jarrett having just passed Ward Burton for the 6th position. So if Bobby Labonte wins the race as he is now, there would be 201 points between them at the end of the afternoon, and it would be enough for Jarrett to bring Yates his first NASCAR Winston Cup title. Upper left of your screen, the field as it stands now, truthfully, kind of spread out at this point. Bobby Labonte is pulling them around at a quick, blistering pace, and so that has spread out the top 10 or 12 cars a little more than we might normally see.
Alan, you get to know, talking about Robert Yates there, and being a car owner like myself, you get to know the drivers so well, you get to know the families, the kids, and the thought of one of those guys maybe getting hurt. Always, for me, I go back and think, well, now wait a second, this is what they've always wanted to do. They were racing before I gave them a job. But at the same time, you get to be so close to them, your heart does go out, and you get to know them, hey, it's like family, and I can sympathize with Robert in that situation.
Let's update a couple of things. Darrell Waltrip has taken his car to the garage. It is being worked on there. It has been somewhat off the pace for most of the afternoon, so they're making some handling adjustments there to see if they can pick up the speed and get Darrell back into the race. Brett Bodine spent an extended amount of time on pit road a little while ago. He is 14 laps down, but back on the speedway in 42nd position. Now, we look back from Bobby Labonte, the leader, to second place John Andretti, and he is getting some company as Tony Stewart, last week's winner, the super rookie of 1999, begins to close in to try and get the runner-up position away.
Well, you know, Alan, talking to numerous crew chiefs in the garage area this morning, this was the fear they had, to be honest with you. Not just because Joe's sitting here, but with the Gitz cars would take off and run up front, because they've been extremely quick on these flat racetracks. John Andretti was extremely quick last week, so these guys are setting a blistering pace and making the rest of the field not too comfortable today.
Here he goes up underneath Andretti, turn 3. Stewart to second spot, makes the pass off turn 4.
Okay, Mike, that's it. I'm going to do my part for the Pontiacs. Now, think about this. We race all year long, right? In points right now, in the top 10 in points for the year, Fords have 4 cars, Chevy has 3 cars, Pontiac has 3 cars, right? Pretty even. Think about the people who've won races. Okay, this year, Gordon's won 7, right? Pontiac, best Pontiacs won 4. So I rest my case.
The judge has spoken. Thank you very much. There you see wins this season. Ford with 13, Chevrolet with 12, Pontiac with 7. But it is Pontiac 1, 2, and 3 right now over a trio of Fords who run 4, 5, and 6 in this race. Bobby Labonte is your leader. 99 laps complete, about to hit 150 miles of today's race. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
Tonight, the movie Time magazine calls an inspirational and moving event the greatest story ever told through his mother's eyes, a captivating experience.
Never, my son.
And TV Guide calls Christian Bale a jolt of electricity. Mary, Mother of Jesus, NBC tonight.
You really saved us a lot of money on those tires.
Okay, okay. I just didn't think they were going to hammer us for mounting, balancing, valve stem, and tire disposal. Boy, were they surprised when I declined.
At Henni's Tire Service, we know you don't like surprises, and neither do we. The price we quote is the price you pay. You'll find a wide selection of world-class tires at a price you can afford. Give us a call. We're in the Yellow Pages. Compare the total price. We beat the competition.
Is your copier a loner? Fax machine shy? Computer not a team player? Come back here. Call Angle Business Systems and Toshiba, where the digital and integrated office is what we do. With efficiency, promoting a strong bottom line, and backed by certified technicians. Doing the job and doing it right. What's that? Changed our name? Hey, thanks for noticing. We're Angle Business Systems, and with Toshiba, connecting your office to the internet or the copier down the hall.
It's prime time for time. Route 30, Paradise.
News 8, the winner of the Emmy for Outstanding Spot News Reporting. Teamwork in action.
NBC's presentation of NASCAR is brought to you by ADT, the power that protects more families than any other security company in America. By the all-new Chevy Monte Carlo, the side you show the world is up to you. And by Pepsi, the joy of cola.
Log on to MSNBCSports.com and check out the chase for this season's NASCAR championship. Vote on whether you think Dale Jarrett will emerge with his first Winston Cup title. Plus, read about his close relationship with his famous racing father, Ned, a two-time NASCAR champion. It's all at MSNBCSports.com, the official website of NBC Sports. Just past the 150-mile mark of today's Pennzoil 400 for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series here at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. Bobby Labonte is your leader. As you can see, we've swapped the lead around several times, but no caution flags in this one. And all 43 of the cars who started the event are still running. Darrell Waltrip behind the wall a short while ago has brought his Ford back out onto the speedway, so everybody that started is still going after it. Looking back at a race for the 8th and 9th positions, Mike Skinner and Jeff Burton are the two cars involved. We ride with Jeff Burton here as he tries to get that spot away from Mike Skinner, who slides a little bit wide up in the corner.
But, you know, they're on a tire run now. They're halfway through the tire run, or gas stops, if we want to say it that way. The car is going to start pushing a little bit, sliding around, things of that nature. As you've seen, when they put tires on, they were right around the bottom of the racetrack. Now they're starting to use the racetrack up.
Alan, I think Jeff Burton was second fast last night in happy hour, too. So this is a good car. And it's no surprise we see him making a charge from the back here. It's up to 9th.
Jeff started in 21st position. It's been a terrific season for Jeff. There you see 6 wins in 1999. The problem for Jeff this season has been 6 finishes in the 30s due to problems of one sort or another. And those problems have left him 6th in the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship standings instead of farther up contending for the title, as you would have thought with those 6 victories.
Well, that's been the amazing thing about Jarrett. So consistent, not making mistakes. And just week in and week out, that's what you got to do to win a championship.
But from a driver's side, if you're going to have those 30th place finishes, those 6 wins didn't hurt at all.
No, he doesn't. He's made a lot of money, too.
Yeah.
Focusing up ahead on Mike Skinner, the man who is racing with Jeff Burton for that 8th position. His crew chief, Larry McReynolds, is down on pit road now. Let's get their thoughts. Mike Massaro.
And Alan, of course, Mike Skinner also battling with Ward Burton in the points. Ward 9th. And, of course, Mike Skinner 10th in points. They're battling on the racetrack right now. But Mike Skinner appears to be having some handling problems. Let's get a word with Larry McReynolds, the crew chief there, and find out what's happening with that car, Larry.
Well, I obviously couldn't hear what you said, but, you know, I mean, we're pretty proud of the way we're running. I mean, if you look at the rundown right now, Chevrolet's in pretty big trouble. I think we're the top running Chevrolet right now, but we've had a good week here. Got a lot of practice and tried a lot of things on Thursday and applied some things this morning, and looks like it's got the looks of a long green flag run, so I'm sure pit strategy, fuel mileage is going to have a little bit to do with it. We just keep tweaking on it. Right now, he's just saying biggest thing is he loses the nose behind another car, but just keep going here and see what happens.
Well, like Larry said, we're in the midst of a very long green flag run. Back to you guys.
Skinner, a 42-year-old originally from Susanville, California, making his 109th Winston Cup start. A very avid golfer off the racetrack, and you don't want to get on the golf course with Mike because he's as competitive as on the golf course as he is on the racetrack. I have personal experience with this. Now, Ward Burton is just ahead of Mike. Ward running in the 6th position here. And Ward from South Boston, Virginia, has had some heartbreak this season. 3 different times he's finished in 2nd position to his brother Jeff. But for Ward, it's been a terrific improvement for 1999 over the 1998 season. 18th in the final championship a year ago. 9th right now with 2 races to go in this 99 season. Now, yesterday here at Homestead, if you weren't with us, this was the setting now on a final restart with 4 laps to go. Ward Burton is the leader, first car in line. Joe Nemechek is behind him, and Ward jumped the restart as the final leader.
It was an unfortunate circumstance for Ward. He just got a little too anxious, it looks like, or at least that's what it shows on video here, that NASCAR has a line across the racetrack, and you cannot accelerate until you get to that point. And they thought he jumped it a little early, and unfortunately lost him a race. Don't know if he would have won it, but he would have surely finished 2nd.
Alan, we saw Larry McReynolds, one of the crew chiefs there, and I really get a kick out of this. I compare them to coaches in football, and we saw him there. Hey, Larry McReynolds is doing commercials, TV commercials. He's become a very high-paid specialist, and these guys are like coaches over here in Winston Cup. They're the guys that run the show. They're the technical person. They deserve a lot of money. They're getting it, and actually, guys like Jimmy Maycar, Larry McReynolds, and Ray Abraham are becoming stars.
Jeremy Mayfield has just been on pit road for a green flag stop. Unfortunately, he was speeding when he left. There is Mayfield. So he is going to have to come back down pit road for a stop-and-go penalty here, and that's going to cost him an awful lot of time. There's the black flag for Mayfield for the penalty.
That's very crucial, Alan. What do you mean by speeding down pit road? The drivers establish a pit road speed during the pace laps. They don't have a speedometer in the car, but they put the car in whether it's 1st gear or 2nd gear, and they look at their tach, their RPMs. And somewhere along the line, Jeremy must have cheated pit road just a little bit.
Talk about this pit road here for a minute, Mike, at Homestead, because it's a little bit different than most speedways.
Well, you've got a line starting right here, which is the entrance to turn 3, and you follow this line all the way through here. This is about a mile in length, actually. My line's a little off, but we're right in through here.
All you drivers can never color between the lines.
Yeah. The actual pit road speed starts right about there.
So that's how you get onto pit road, is that inner access road around the insides of turns 3 and 4, and then coming off of pit road, it's just the opposite.
Yeah, you can accelerate as fast as you want till pit road. Then, right in that area there, you've got another access road, and it comes up right through here. And you come out of turn 2, and you can run as fast as you possibly can right through this area till you come onto the back straightaway, right in that area there. But the problem we got right there is this area right here. Right in here is where they caught Jeremy for some type of problem. He was just so aggressive getting in or getting off pit road.
And the reason for the pit road speed limit is safety for the guys who go over the wall to change the tires. You don't want a car running 100 miles an hour down through there and maybe getting out of control.
Mike, I don't want you coaching Bobby Labonte. You would have wrecked 3 times there. You had us off in the water and everything.
Yeah, but, you know, the sun's on my machine here, you know, so we're doing the best we can. We got the point across, Joe, I think.
You got it. You did a good job of that, too. Our crew chiefs always say, hey, race on and off pit road. It's not just a pit stop. You can have a 15-second pit stop, and like you said, Mike, lose 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds.
Yeah, this is 1 mile. 1 mile pit road by the time you enter turn 3, and you can run as fast as you can from 3 to 4. Pit road speed down, back off of pit road, back to turn 2. A lot of time can be gained or lost there.
And the time lost for Jeremy Mayfield because of the pit stop. He was in the top 10 when he came in the pit road. Because of the penalty, he is back in 33rd position, a couple of laps down. It'll hurt him, especially if a caution comes out before the other leaders come down pit road. He'll get some of it back if everybody else comes through the pit lane before a yellow flag comes out. Mayfield is doing what they call short pitting. We touched on it a little bit earlier in the show.
Short pitting means basically you don't need gas, but the tires are wearing, and you can run faster lap speeds with fresher tires. Jeremy's the one that's kind of started it early on, got our pit sequence off, basically. And everybody was clocking, saying, hey, look how much speed he picked up. Let's dive down pit road. You've seen Bobby Labonte, Tony Stewart dive down pit road, and then all of a sudden everybody pitted because It's about a 7 or 8 quicker pit window than whatever we planned on, but the track speed, lap speeds are so much quicker.
Now, the next pit stops may go a little bit different depending on everybody now in the pits has had a chance to see how and what kind of gas mileage their car gets.
Definitely.
So we could see some people really starting to stretch things, Mike, as the race goes.
Definitely, Joe. Along with it, they've also checked tire wear. You know, we've seen a problem on David Green's tire where they had too much camber in the right front, which means the top of the tire was laid in. The more camber you put on it, the more grip you get with the front tires.
The leaders all pitted at lap 59. We are at lap 117 now, so we should have another round of pit stops for all of the front runners very shortly. So we'll take a break and come back with more in just a minute. Bobby Labonte leads. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
Think something that small can't hurt your car? Even smaller carbon deposits can clog your car's fuel injectors. So use Gum Out Extra Fuel Injector Cleaner to get rid of deposits for smoother overall performance. And did I mention better acceleration?
Drive your fuel injectors clean with Gum Out Extra.
I'm serving a party of 20 at 7 o'clock, whether this pain goes away or not. So I took something stronger, something faster. I took Advil liquid gels. See, they're stronger and faster on tough pain than extra-strength Tylenol. And, well, it just makes sense that they are. Liquid gels are the only pain reliever with liquid inside. Nobody else has that. Nobody. So when you want something that's faster on tough pain than Tylenol, take Advil liquid gels. Pain relief that's stronger and faster.
When was the last time you felt 284 horses tugging at your soul? When was the last time you immersed yourself in hand-tufted virgin leather? Can you really put a price on this kind of perfection? Actually, you can, because this $70,000 car could cost you over $326,000 in retirement savings. We just thought you should know. Ask a financial advisor about Sun America, the retirement specialist.
Finding the perfect gift is never easy.
I'd like to see some jewelry for my girlfriend.
Would you like a diamond-studded cougar?
It's called Tigress. Hello.
There is a better way to shop. At Snap.com, you can find the perfect gift, whether it's CDs, electronics, or something a little more personal.
Beautiful. Did you pick this out all by yourself?
Sort of. Snap.com. Shop in a snap.
Welcome back to Homestead. John Andretti in the pit. He did his mark. Last time in, he made a significant air pressure adjustment. This time, 4 tires and fuel, no air pressure adjustment, no chassis adjustment. They're working on the left side now. Last time in, they put in a half pound of air pressure in the left front, took out a half pound in the right front. Now, they're down and away at 16.6.
So, pretty good stop there for Richard Petty's team. And Andretti, the third-place car, before the stop, heads back out onto the speedway. So we've hit that window with no caution so far in this Pennzoil 400, where we should begin to see the rest of the leaders coming down pit road. Here's the pole sitter, David Green, leaving after a pit stop. Green had dropped back a little bit, just outside the top 10. And here comes Ward Burton in for a pit stop in the Bill Davis Racing. Pontiac heads down toward our Marty Snyder.
And Ward describes his car as erratic. It started off pushing on this run, and then they got a little too loose. So what they're going to do is they're going to make a track bar adjustment. Tommy Baldwin, his crew chief, thought about a wedge adjustment, all of those in order to tighten him up just a little bit for the longer run. But they did go with a track bar adjustment, which should help him out, should tighten him up just a little bit. Left side tires on, and a good stop for Ward Burton. He is back out on the racetrack.
17-1 there for Burton. Ken Schrader has been in. Ted Musgrave has been in. Kenny Wallace has been in. And now here's the leader, Bobby Labonte, dropping onto that access road we described a minute ago to the inside of 3 and 4. Now down to the 45-mile-an-hour pit road speed limit at that first pit box. So Tony Stewart takes over the lead as Bobby Labonte comes down for his pit stop. This would be at lap 123. Second set of stops in this race. Let's go to Marty Snyder for the Bobby Labonte pit stop.
He had a pretty good car on that last run. He was a little bit looser than he would have liked on the longer part of the run. So what they were going to do was a track or a wedge adjustment, and that's what they're going to wind up doing. They're trying to tighten him up for the longer part of the run. We've so far had green flag runs, and so that means the long part of the run is very crucial. The 88 of Dale Jarrett is right behind him. Dale Jarrett's car, 16.3 for Bobby Labonte. Jarrett's car's a little bit loose. They went down around on the track bar. They're taking out a half pound of air pressure. That should tighten him up just like he wanted, especially for the longer run. But we didn't talk a lot about it. The DJ was coming through the field late in that run, so they're pretty happy with the 88 car.
Jarrett had moved up to the 5th position just before the round of pit stops began. Now here's Tony Stewart coming down onto pit road for service from his crew. Jeff Burton will take over the race lead as Stewart gets service. Bobby Labonte's team, the other group, pulled off a 16.3. Let's see if Tony's group can cost you a little more money here, Coach.
I'll tell you what, we're proud of here. All those guys right there. Nobody came over the 18 car. That's a brand new group. Not bad.
16.3, so based on the bonus program you told us about a little while ago.
I'm a little lighter in the wallet.
There you go. And so Jeff
But I don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeff Burton, as I said a second ago, takes over the lead after Stewart makes his pit stop. So Burton by the start-finish line, and he leads for the first time in this race today, so collecting 5 bonus points toward the NASCAR Winston Cup title, and his fight with Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon for the 4th, 5th, and 6th positions.
What you've seen, Alan, that run of pit stops is a little different last time. Last time, Bobby Labonte and Tony Stewart came down at the same time. Tony Stewart stayed out 1 lap to lead to get the 5 bonus points as he's fighting for, the year-end point fund.
Dale Jarrett just getting by Jeff Burton to get himself back on the lead lap, which is important. We're a caution to come out before Burton would make his pit stop, so Jarrett back in the cycle of things, if you will. But Jeff Burton still staying on the racetrack and continuing to lead this event, running a little bit farther on a tank of fuel than some of the other competitors. Burton's won a race or 2 this year on fuel mileage. One of them at the expense of Joe's car and Tony Stewart up in New Hampshire in July.
Ouch.
Yeah.
That probably hurts. What they're trying to do possibly is just stretch the fuel mileage. This may come down to a fuel mileage race again. They want to see exactly how far they can go. And this is a good time of the race to figure it out.
It would be almost impossible to comprehend the inaugural event at this racetrack going without a caution flag. It has been so difficult through the weekend. It has claimed 2 cars at happy hour practice, a number of wrecks, 2 big wrecks specifically in yesterday's NASCAR 2 Series race, plus a couple of more wrecks in the Thursday and Friday practice sessions here. It would be hard to comprehend this race going caution-free, but it's been very clean so far as Burton heads for pit road.
Definitely, Alan, because Jeff Burton is on pit road now. That's the speed area where he can run as fast as he can. You hear him slowing down. He's grabbing a gear now, getting it slowed down.
Crew, no doubt, reminding him what the RPM reading needs to be in which gear to make sure he's not speeding on the pit road. But at that 45 miles an hour, it is a long way from the mile-long one end of pit road to the other. Here's Burton in for a stop.
Jeff Burton brings the attention of Frank Stoddard and crew, and I'll tell you what, guys, it needs a lot of attention. He was real tight getting in the middle of 3 and 4, and he got very loose as a result coming off. What they're going to do is they're going to take and put 1.5 rounds of wedge in the left rear, put 4 new tires on, and go back out. But this was a handful. He's out of here. Good pit stop.
Neat look at Jeff Burton there gulping from the Gatorade bottle as, not your typical visit to the rest area in the middle of a 400-mile drive down the interstate.
The concentration's so important here anymore, and you want a quick drink. It's very, very hot in those cars. It's anywhere from 30 to 50 degrees hotter inside the car than the outside temperature. So, he's probably dealing with 130, 140 degree temperature inside that car today.
So now Jeff Gordon is the race leader. Sterling Marlin is second. You look at the 2 drivers on the screen there. Gordon leading, Marlin second. Then it'll be back to Bobby Labonte once these 2 drivers make their visits to pit road. Marlin went the farthest than anybody else on the last fuel run, the first set of stops in the race. Marlin's not coming till lap 65. Gordon stopped at 63.
You can see the difference there with fresh tires, though. David Green just pulled up on the outside of those 2 cars and driving right on by him. That's the difference, fresh tires on a racetrack like this, man.
We're just a couple of laps shy of the halfway point of this race, just about 200 miles in. It has been caution-free so far. Bobby Labonte has been the dominant driver in the event, but he has fallen back just a couple of positions.
All clear.
Let's get in the middle of this cycle of pit stops. You're listening to David Green's team.
What they're telling David is if he's clear in traffic, whatever, and if he can get down past cars, clear underneath. You see the 24 car on pit road now making his stop. Again, that fast entrance speed. You see him get slowed down, grab another gear right here. Now he's under brakes hard. Got his RPMs established, what he's needing. Posted down. The spotter's counting him down to pit road now. What I mean counting down, he's going 10, 9, 8 to stops. He can pull right in and know exactly where he's at.
So Gordon in the pits, handing the lead to Sterling Marlin as Jeff makes his way down to the attention of his crew. Marty Snyder with the stop.
Well, it's just been a terrible day for Jeff Gordon. In fact, that's how he describes his car. Terrible. On that last run, he had no forward bite. And what that means, when he hits the gas, the car just wants to slide up the racetrack. It won't go and turn like he wants it to turn. It's pushing off the corner, in other words. They made a crash bar adjustment. They're also going to pull a rubber out of the right front for Jeff Gordon. They already did that. Now he's back out on the racetrack. Now let's go to Mike Massaro.
A lot of chassis adjustments being done down on this end of pit road. We'll pay attention to Sterling Marlin as he rolls down into his pit lane. His team up on the wall, ready to spring into action. They jump off the wall and go to work on the right side. They'll take 2 tires there, immediately go to work on the chassis. The wrench is back in on the bolts. They haven't made a move yet. We don't know what they're doing, and they're going to take out 1 round of wedge on the right side. They're going to work now on the left side. 2 tires there. 2 cans of 76 racing fuel still up on the jack. He's still going to work to finally get in the wedge. A good stop for Sterling Marlin. 17.3 seconds.
So Marlin, after leading a couple of laps, heads back up onto the speedway, and that hands the top spot back to that man, Bobby the Body, who has already led 110 of 133 laps in this race.
Alan, we see with a pit stop, you see that what happened to Gordon there, an ill-handling car, a lot of changes, and as a consequence, over a 19-second pit stop. You got to make a lot of changes on the car, and it also affects your pit crew.
We've talked about this long entrance and exit to pit road. We are timing people through that whole process, the time they hit the access road to the time they leave it and get back onto the racetrack. And, Mike, that's really an important number.
Well, it definitely is. You know, it's very quick. The 2 Gibbs cars are very close together. John Andretti beat him by just a little bit, a half of a second, getting on and off pit road.
Bobby the Body, your race leader, has just completed the 200-mile mark of this Pennzoil 400. Halfway home this afternoon, the Body leading Tony Stewart, John Andretti, Mark Martin, and Dale Jarrett trying to lock up the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship here today. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
To you, I just go from point A to point B. All you care about is if my light is on or off. I'm nobody. I'm anonymous. I'm just a set of wheels to you. You'll never remember my name. You probably can't even pronounce it. But under the right set of circumstances, I could be your best friend in the world. Hey, how you doing, man? Hey. Where you going?
Thinking about hair loss? Now there are effective FDA-approved treatments for men's hair loss. The sooner you make an appointment to see your doctor, the better. Or call 1-800-73-MERC to find out more. Merck, helping make hair loss history.
To prove the power of interstate batteries, today I'm racing a family cruiser with my family and a couple of close friends. Currently, we're running third. Make that second, and the battery's doing just fine. Joe and Norm are catching a few rays. Junior's enjoying a race of his own. And looky there, my wife's getting a full makeover. Heck, we got us a regular family outing here.
Interstate, the official battery of the family car.
Flip.
What's happened to the nightlife as we know it? New Sprint Nickel Night, that's what. Now calling card calls are just 5 cents a minute too. All night long. 5 cents a minute at home and on the road. Wherever you are, you're free to talk the night away. And isn't that the point of contact? Move to Sprint Nickel Night. Call 1-800-PIN-DROP.
Next Saturday, senior quarterback Jarius Jackson and the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame play their home finale versus Boston College. Next Saturday at 2:30 Eastern on NBC. Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR, is the proud sponsor of the Bud Pole Award, presented to the fastest qualifier at each NASCAR Winston Cup event.
NASCAR has visited 6 new facilities in the 1990s. Mark Martin took the inaugural Bud Pole at New Hampshire International Speedway in the summer of '93. 1 year later, Rick Mast became the first to go into the record books at the historic Indianapolis Motor Speedway. His run garnered him the Bud Pole bonus and honors of leading the field to the green for the first Brickyard 400. When the series returned to Southern California in June of 1997, Joe Nemechek won his first career Bud Pole at Fontana, sparking his nickname of Front Row Joe. When Las Vegas Motor Speedway opened in March of last year, it was Dale Jarrett who hit the Bud Pole jackpot. Friday here in Homestead, David Green added his name to the list of inaugural Bud Pole winners and will join all of the 99 Bud Pole winners for the Bud Shootout at Daytona in February 2000.
Since 1979, Anheuser-Busch has awarded more than $7 million as the title sponsor of NASCAR's Bud Pole Award program.
David Green, today's pole sitter, about to be overtaken by the race leader, Bobby Labonte. It put one lap down. Green in 14th position. Goes behind the leader. It has been that kind of a day for Labonte as he pursues trying to keep from being closed out for the NASCAR Winston Cup title. He has led. Listening to David Green's radio there, giving him some instructions. Bobby Labonte has just been the man, the story of this race so far. Labonte started this race in the 3rd position. He moved to the front at lap number 27 for the first time and basically has not given up the lead except for a series of green flag pit stops. There's John Andretti up to 3rd position now as we look at our Pennzoil stop-and-go pit summary.
You know, that's just, it's amazing. I'm sitting up here from a driver's perspective and realizing how good Bobby Labonte and John Andretti are running today. Their cars are just driving absolutely perfect. I've watched them throughout the event, and they're just a torrid pace right now. You know, they're making the rest of the guys' day a really long one, unfortunately for them.
Without cautions, too, if you miss the setup a little bit, for instance, start the race, Mike, you know, a little bit off, then what happens is, hey, you get lapped in a hurry, and it can ruin your day.
Yeah, definitely. And what you're seeing also, Joe, we dealt with a lot of wind. We still got a little bit of wind here, but not near what they'd had in practice yesterday. So there was a lot of problems off of turn 2 getting the car free enough, and maybe they overcompensated. And unfortunately, for my brother's sake, it looks like Bobby Labonte's getting ready to put in the lap down.
Rusty Wallace running in 14th position, about to be overtaken by the leader, Bobby Labonte. As you look at our race summary, upper left of your screen, chance to check out where your favorite driver is running. There's Jeff Burton back in 7th. Solid day for Kyle Petty so far. Started 16th. He's up into the 9th spot. There's Dale Earnhardt rounding out the top 10. Jeffrey Bodine with a good solid day. And Rusty Wallace, the last one on the lead lap, in 14th position.
What you're going to continue to see here, Alan, Rusty's going to drive just absolutely as hard as he can to stay ahead of Bonnie. He's going to try to cut down in front of him a little bit if he can, but he knows how good a driver Bobby is. Not going to worry about him being there, hoping Bobby give him a little bit of a break to try to stay on the lead lap. It's kind of give and take, you know. This might be next week Bobby might need this same break.
Rusty's fighting him hard, trying to keep up there, hoping for a caution to be able to get back into this thing.
Yeah, right now everybody's screaming there's debris or something somewhere, hoping, but I don't think they're going to go for it right now.
And I don't think Bobby's going to go for letting Rusty stay on the lead lap either.
You do develop a relationship with those drivers, the guys you can trust. You watch these guys in happy hour or something, they have a tendency to run with some of their buddies. And then, of course, the other side of that, some of these guys, I've heard Bobby at different times, hey, look, I don't want to run with this guy, afraid of this guy. And so there's a lot of that. Hey, it's day in and day out, week to week, a lot of races, and you develop, I guess, over a period of time, you kind of have to earn your way. That's one of the things you worry about a rookie. Tony Stewart, has he earned his way? Do the guys trust him? Will they race with him?
Saw Ricky Rudd bypass Dale Earnhardt there for the 10th position, and a little wave out the window after he went by to thank Earnhardt for giving him room to take the spot. Earnhardt's car looking like it's a little wide as he goes through the corners, or wider than he wants to have. Look at the race summary now as we are just past the midway point of today's event as Earnhardt goes way wide once again up in the corner. Bobby Labonte, the leader, 12 lead changes, but frankly, mostly due to the fact that we've had all green flag pit stops in this one. A blistering average speed of over 143 miles an hour on this flat mile-and-a-half track. And the only car not on the speedway is Darrell Waltrip, whose machine has been retired with some pretty significant handling gremlins. Drivers who have led the race today, David Green out in front for the first 7 laps. John Andretti has led for a while. Bobby Labonte has spent most of the time out front, also leading at least 1 lap. Mark Martin, Dale Jarrett, Mike Skinner, Jeff Gordon, Sterling Marlin, Tony Stewart, and Jeff Burton. And again, we have 13 cars on the lead lap at this point. Labonte Stewart, Andretti, Mark Martin, Dale Jarrett. Those the first 5. Then the brothers Burton in 6th and 7th. Ward and Jeff, followed by Mike Skinner, Kyle Petty, and Ricky Rudd down through 10th position. Then the final 3 on the lead lap are Dale Earnhardt, Jeffrey Bodine, and Jeremy Mayfield. And there's Dale Jarrett continuing to try and lock up the NASCAR Winston Cup title for 1999. Started the race in the 12th position. He has led a lap, and he is running in 5th position right now. Let's go down to his pit and hear from crew chief Todd Parrott with Marty Snyder.
Well, he hasn't lit the world on fire, but he's in 5th. Todd, are you happy with the day so far?
Yeah, right now, seem to be pretty pleased. We kept adjusting on this thing all day. Started out a little bit loose, and you know, we practiced happy hour yesterday. It was pretty cool. So just missed it a little bit. The car seems to be pretty good. And running in the top 5, that's what we got to do. And having great pit stops and just keep tweaking on it. Who knows? If we do get a caution, we might get up there and have a shot at winning this thing. That's what we're here for.
And that's what they would love to do, win this thing. But the goal, as we said in the first part of the race, just finish 8th and nothing else matters.
If Bobby Labonte wins the race and leads the most laps, as he appears to be in good shape in doing it, it's 8th or better for Jarrett to lock up the title. He's running 5th right now. Just past halfway in the Pennzoil 400 at Homestead. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
This is the story of the last-minute elves. 2 panicky elves ran into Big K.
Oh, my.
At first, they were frantic and filled with fear till one of them yelled,
"My toy's over here!"
Goldberg,
And that's...
Pokemon, Pikachu, and more. One of them was obsessed with Nintendo 64.
Hurry, hurry, hurry! What is with that voice? Now, next year, we're going to shop early. Oh, like it's my fault.
It actually is. For the hottest toys, go to Big K. That was the lesson that they learned that day. Look out for the book.
What book?
I dropped my melon, and there was Bud. Wow. He's got this cute little mustache that curls up. Bud, Bud, Bud. We went square down here. Everybody goes whoop-de-doo and load the boat. I call him Bud the teacher. He even taught me to do online trading. I have an Ameritrade account. Costs only $8 a trade. I had a stock split. Use the coaster, sweetheart.
Ameritrade. Call now.
Oh.
Check this out. I got a bulb, but this will last you 2 years. Guaranteed.
Cool. Philips. Light bulbs that last.
Hello, little man. Oh, the horror! The horror!
Well, most people are happy about new toaster muffins from Eggo. Warm and muffiny on the inside, crispy on the outside, and shaped to fit in your toaster. It's the muffin you'll never want to let go. New toaster muffins from Eggo.
I'm the muffin man! Oh, the horror of it all!
Think your workout's tough? Just imagine swimming through treacherous ocean waters, cycling 112 miles in brutal heat, and running a grueling marathon all in one day. It's the most demanding test of endurance the human body can experience. The Ironman Triathlon, coming up next on NBC.
Welcome back to NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR. Its first ever visit, hopefully a permanent thing here in South Florida, the Pennzoil 400 presented by Kmart. I'm Brian Williams. We've been talking a lot today about Pontiac domination. They are presently 4 of the top 6 cars. A driver who swore me up and down before the race. He wanted to remain nameless. Prominent Chevrolet driver in this pack. Joked that he was going to drive out to Miami International, rent a Pontiac, use just the body, slap it on the Chevy chassis for today, take the Pontiac back in one piece. Also, we should look at the brothers Burton, Ward and Jeff, suddenly 6th and 7th in this race. Ward, sadly for him, has too often this season been in the shadow of his brother Jeff. We know a little more about the Jeff Burton 99 Excite battery car. They've been in for a couple adjustments. They set up that car for today last night after the dusk happy hour practice run. It was almost cool here in southern Florida last night. Right now, we've got a track temperature that is going up and fast. It's been uninterrupted sun now for several hours. The brothers Burton together on the track, fighting it out for 6th and 7th. Alan Bestwick, back up to you in the booth.
Brian, thank you. As you look at Ward and Jeff going at it for that position there, Ward with a little wiggle in the middle of that corner, but Jeff not able to dust him off for that position. And let's talk about weather conditions and their effect on race cars for just a minute, Mike. When you set yourself up with a little bit cooler temperature than you get on race day, it does to the race car what?
Basically, the cooler the racetrack, what we call it makes a tighter racetrack. Asphalt secretes oil out of it on a hot day. And when you practice like they did last night in the shade and the sun and everything else, it's not doing that as much. So your chassis setup ends up being different. Basically, what you've done, you made the car looser through those conditions. Now today, they're racing in the sun. Oil's secreting through the asphalt. The cars are looser than what they want them to be. Some guys are on the loose side, some are on the tight side. You're seeing the pass for Jeff Burton on the outside of Ward. Ward's telling him, go on, get down there, and fall in behind.
Just move over and let him on go.
When I talk to our drivers, too, they say some tracks, Mike, are more sensitive than others. And for instance, the Charlotte track changes very quickly. Other tracks are a little more stable. Like I questioned our guys last night. They're out there late. What are we going to learn late when it's almost everything's clouded and cool? But there are certain things they feel like. And Bobby seemed to think this track was a little more, he had the feeling it wasn't going to change as much.
With Jeff Burton running as well as he is today in the 7th position, and Jeff Gordon struggling back in 17th, a lap down. You see Jeff Burton there as the race stands, moving by Jeff Gordon and into 5th position in the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship standings. So Gordon struggling here today, and Jeff Burton running well. His brother Ward running pretty well just behind him, though not able to quite keep up with little brother at this immediate moment.
You might ask also, we hit on that, practicing in the dark or why the drivers did that. Is it a Busch Grand National race? Ran a little long yesterday. The sun goes down about 5:30 here in southern Florida. They were just forced with that. That was the best time and the only time they had in their final practice hours.
The other thing, they like to find out after that happy hour, after the Busch race, they kind of want to get a feel, too, don't they?
Exactly.
Like in a happy hour. In other words, how much rubber was put down, how much did the track change?
Yeah, because they practice. When you practice, you don't have all those cars out there laying down all the rubber. And the nice thing, the Busch Grand National cars run the exact same Goodyear tires as the Winston Cup cars do. And so it gives them a more actual race surface condition.
There's 3rd place John Andretti working behind some double-wide lap traffic there. Andretti 9.34 seconds behind leader Bobby Labonte.
I'd like to comment on what Boris said there. We haven't talked about him all day, but this is one of the first Winston Cup races Boris has had run all year. He was a road course specialist, but doing a really good job there today.
And John Andretti being caught in that traffic behind Mark Martin, separated by the Boris Said car, the 14 machine, and Stacy Compton in that bright yellow number 9 car, who's going to try and overtake Said if he can, right in between the 3rd and 4th place machines. There's Boris. Carlsbad, California is his hometown. He has won at the Le Mans 24-hour race before over in France. A very well-accomplished road racer, trying to make the transition to oval track racing in a car that is owned in part by Ernie Irvin, the now retired Winston Cup great driver.
Yes, it is. Along with Boris is a phenomenal road racer. I've raced the trucks against him this year, and he showed us a lot of new things, what we need to learn about road racing. Very talented there.
From a driver, from an owner's standpoint, when you're looking for a driver, there's a lot of different places to get talent, Mike. For instance, right here's a road racer. Can he make the move? In our case, we're going after Tony Stewart. Can he go from open wheel on a lot of the midgets and going from dirt? Can he make the transition? Those are all areas where you can go get a driver. The question is finding the right talent, and can he make that adjustment to Winston Cup racing?
Well, you could just look to the left of you, Joe, and there's talent sitting next to you if you're looking for another driver.
A very good one.
The Mike Wallace audition in the broadcast booth. So Andretti and Martin cleared the lap traffic. They went through Robert Presley, who's running in 32nd position, Stacy Compton, who's running in 33rd. Boris Said another lap behind those drivers. He is back in the 39th position. And Andretti and Martin continue their race for 3rd and 4th here now with a little bit of open racetrack. Maybe can give Mark an opportunity to get up there and do something with John if he can.
Definitely Mark's car is turning a little bit better. When I mean turning, staying on the bottom of the racetrack. That's the crucial thing on a flat racetrack like this. As you can see, Bobby Labonte, he's not even a half car off the bottom of the racetrack, coming up on back of Dave Blaney there. But Very, very crucial to make the car handle well on a place like this.
And while all of that's going on, Bobby the Body is just cruising on up in front. Watching Bobby in the office, behind the wheel. Bobby the Body leading 163 of 267 laps complete in the Pennzoil 400 at Homestead. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
With the AT&T one-rate 7-cent plan, calls are just 7 cents a minute all day, every day.
What about Canada?
What?
Canada.
Yeah, same thing. With the international plan, it's 7 cents a minute always.
What about all the other countries in the world? Japan, Mexico, Liechtenstein.
Liechtenstein? All right. Every country has its own low rate.
What about France? France.
Same low rate as France.
Great. I'm going to go call France.
Which is right near France.
7 cents to Canada and great rates around the world. Call 1-800-4-WIN-RATE to enroll.
If you're looking for horsepower, look at Chevy Silverado. Because Silverado has the most powerful V8 of any 4x4 pickup. More powerful than Dodge. More powerful than Ford. 300 horsepower. That's why it's the truck. Silverado from Chevy.
Coming in, guys.
Look, Bill's in trouble.
Don't worry, Bill. We'll take it from here.
Here. Where can you always find a fast and friendly drive-thru crew? Did somebody say McDonald's?
Waiting for somebody, kid?
You done this for my mom, my dad, my uncle.
How much stuff you got in that bag?
Wednesday on NBC, critics are raving about The West Wing. It's smart, sexy, and superb.
You like opera.
You're asking me out on a date.
And now the viewers for quality television have voted it the best new drama of the season.
What did I ever do to you? Don't stand there and ask the question, John.
The West Wing, 9/8 Central, NBC Wednesday.
The Pennzoil 400 at Homestead-Miami Speedway. David Green started on the pole. Lap number 8, it was John Andretti who started second, going by up to the point. Then at lap 27, Bobby the Body moved up around John Andretti to take over the top spot. He's held it most of the rest of the day. Green flag pit stop for the leaders. Top of the screen, Kenny Irwin spinning on pit road. Cost him a 2-lap penalty. Fortunately, everybody got by okay. But it has been all that man and that car so far. Bobby the Body leading, while Dale Jarrett runs in 5th position, trying to lock up the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship for 1999. There is the man, Bobby the Body. Originally from Corpus Christi, Texas, 35-year-old driver, 4 wins in 1999. Let's compare his style with that of Dale Jarrett. Maybe get a little indication of what their cars are doing as well at this point in the race.
Bobby having that easy a time. I pay him for that?
We talked about
I'm
this.
up here working.
We talked about this yesterday during the NASCAR Busch Series broadcast. We had a camera on Dale Earnhardt Jr., and he just looked like he was just tooling along. And we said, okay, we spend all this time trying to convince people that NASCAR drivers are athletes, but really they're under more strain than it looks like. The G-forces and so on their neck, and the amount of strength in the arms to keep those cars turned and doing what they need to do is more than it would appear just by looking.
And Alan, really, a golfer. Let's take a golfer. What is he? Precision. He takes something very hard, makes it look easy. These guys, when you stop and think, it's easy to sit up here sometimes and say, that's 145 miles an hour and missing somebody by 6 inches. Now, to me, that's an athlete. That's taking something very hard, physically and demanding high hand-eye coordination. To be able to do that, you kids are the athletes, that's your life.
And do it in the temperature of a sauna all day with the steam bath that those cars become. Well, now, Bobby the Body here in about another 10, 12 laps is going to have locked up the bonus points for leading the most laps in this race. So we'll keep an eye on that. First, some early pit stops. Here's Jerry Nadeau on the pit lane, dropping in. 40th position for Nadeau. And let's go down to pit road to Mike Massaro.
And Jerry Nadeau pitting a little bit out of sequence. He had cut down a right front tire not too long ago. He threw over the wall on the M&M Pontiac, going to work on the right side. 2 tires there. They'll wheel around to the left side. A 4-tire change. 2 cans of 76 racing fuel on that machine. A good stop so far. No chassis adjustment. They're down and away. A good stop. They stole it. But now they're refire it and finally get it away at 20.7. That will certainly hurt.
So, unscheduled stop there with problems for Jerry Nadeau. Now, we also saw Jeremy Mayfield on the pit lane. There's Mayfield leaving. He's been short pitting all day, coming in 5 or 6 laps earlier than most of the front runners, trying to gain the extra speed out of a set of tires. But he got caught for speeding leaving pit road earlier. It has dropped him back a lap behind the leaders and put him into about the 16th position before he came down pit road to begin the next cycle of stops.
You know, Alan, I was just calculating. I think what Jeremy Mayfield's team has done, they took this race and just divided it up in how many stops they could run. They knew they had to make so many stops, but when they made that stop, they put tires on each time. Now, they should have one more stop in this race, and they should be able to run to the end.
I'm not sure he's going to be able to go from here to the finish on one more stop, but we'll talk about that more in a minute. Here's Mark Martin. He's just taken 3rd spot away from John Andretti. So Mark, who started in 9th position, has been in the top 5 for quite a bit. Wow, that was close off turn 4.
That's hard to say. He was working there, working the wheel.
So Mark has moved up into the top 3 now. He is 12 seconds, though, behind Bobby Labonte at this point in the race.
Well, you know, Bobby's just put a staggering pace out there. So what we've been talking about all day is just what Bobby's been doing, and it's hard on other drivers. They're running as hard as they can, but they've hit the setup. You know, what everybody's looking for, especially on the lead lap right now, still, we hit on it earlier today, is another caution. Is a caution, not another one, because we haven't had one.
Haven't had any so far. There's Jack Roush, the mastermind of the Roush Racing 5-car operation of the NASCAR Winston Cup circuit, watching his driver Mark Martin come rocketing by the pit lane and off into turn 1. Marty Snyder has an update for us on Mark.
Well, Mark Martin's a pretty happy guy right now. His car is almost as fast as Bobby Labonte's, but about 40 laps ago, he wasn't very happy. He said the car is junk. It was way too tight. But then it started to come to him. It's getting better on the longer run. And this car has had some success for these guys this year. It sat in the shop, didn't run all year long until Dover in September. They brought it out. It won its first race. It finished 4th at Charlotte, 6th at Rockingham. And if it survives today, and it looks like it'll do a good job of that, if it survives today, it will go to Atlanta next week. It's Mark's favorite car, and currently it's keeping him in 3rd.
Well, you heard what Marty was saying about Mark saying it was junk early on, 40 laps. We were talking about the drivers. It's a very mental thing out there. Just as tough as driving, the mental aspect of this sport is understand how to make the chassis work and telling the crew what needs to be done.
Those veteran drivers have a way of making that, this is a dump truck. I hate it. There's all those different stuff. Man, I hate that as an owner. I'm standing there going, oh, my gosh, we've had it today.
Looking up from Mark to the top 2 drivers, Bobby Labonte and Tony Stewart, and looks like Tony's starting to close in on Bobby just a little bit. He's got it down to 1.7 seconds, the distance up to the race leader. There you see some of the intervals. It was 1.95 seconds, and obviously Tony caught up in a little lap traffic between lap 175 and 176 that caused him to lose that ground. So Stewart running 2nd behind Bobby Labonte. We're just past 250 miles in what has been so far a caution-free Pennzoil 400. Labonte, Stewart, Martin, Andretti, and Jarrett are your top 5. Green flag pit stops coming up right around the corner. We'll be back in a minute. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
Tonight, in the blink of an eye.
On the left!
Everything can change. And in the wake of a tragedy...
Are you okay? Everybody saw him do it!
2 partners finally come together. An all-new Third Watch, NBC tonight at 8, 7 Central.
Apple Chevrolet is out to defend its title as the #1 volume dealer in York County with an all-out sales event, breaking all the barriers to sell off over 500 new Chevy cars and trucks. #1 in savings with most new vehicles priced below factory invoice. Scoring all the points with 0 money down, and you don't pay till Y2K. But the sale's in its last quarter with only a few plays left. The next play is yours.
Stop in during our #1 sales event. We're your #1 every day, Apple Chevrolet.
John M. Browning designed his famous firearms over a span of 48 years. But he wore clothing all his life. So if you think Browning makes great firearms, you'll love Browning clothing.
Available at Scheider's Shoe and Clothing Barn in Lebanon.
Jones, GMC, Manheim Pike, Lancaster.
David Cassidy, Regis, and Ally McBeal on Entertainment Tonight.
NBC's presentation of NASCAR is brought to you by Pennzoil with Pure Base, made for the way you drive. Stop Gold Pennzoil by Route 66. Jeans, clothes, it's not Main Street, only at Kmart. By Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. And by the irresistible taste that makes you say, did somebody say McDonald's?
59 laps.
Limping.
I mean,
looking down on the Homestead-Miami Speedway as the Pennzoil 400 continues live on NBC Sports from the Bud 1 airship. For all NASCAR fans, this Bud's for you. The Bud 1 airship flying high above the Homestead-Miami Speedway, providing these spectacular aerial shots. Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR. There are the top two drivers, Bobby Labonte leading Tony Stewart, but Tony has closed it in fast as we approach another round of pit stops. It was once up to about 1.7 seconds. 5 laps later, it's down to 0.4 seconds, just a handful of car lengths of empty speedway between Stewart and his teammate.
Joe was telling me the other day that Tony Stewart is very, very good at these flat, slick racetracks. He came from the open wheel stuff, and every time they take him to a flat racetrack, he just really excels.
The very first year we were sitting talking with Tony, he was racing Bush for us, and he said, hey, the slicker the better. I think he has a real good feel from spending so much time on dirt. He raced a lot of dirt, and there, as you know there, Alan, that rear end gets away, you know, Mike, and those guys are used to that feel, and so a slick racetrack doesn't bother them.
No, not at all. And this is where you got to have a lot of car control. You got to be real gentle with the gas pedal. You got to understand just what the car is going to take, and he seems to have adapted to it extremely, extremely well.
Closing in is Stewart. Now, we have to see how far Bobby and Tony can stay on the racetrack on this tank of fuel, because as you see with 84 laps to go, they're closing in on the point where if they can stretch this one a little bit farther, they can make the finish on this next pit stop on a tank of fuel. Now, we've seen the leaders run about 68, 69 laps on a tank of fuel here. Oh, one car up the racetrack in the corner into the outside wall. Michael Waltrip bouncing the right side of the machine off the concrete. He keeps on rolling, and we will stay under the green flag. No caution flag so far.
What you've seen happen there, Alan, unfortunately, got in the corner a little too hard. It doesn't look like a tire went down at this time. We'll look at it when it comes around a little bit more, but just got in, kind of got what they call in the marbles, out of the groove.
Caution on the speedway. Another car in trouble in turn 2. Ricky Rudd has just bounced off the outside wall. Similar situation to what you just saw from Michael Waltrip. First caution of the race is out at lap 185. So the yellow flag for the first time in this race, better than 250 miles in. There's the Ricky Rudd car that went up and scraped against the outside wall in turn 2. He must not have hit it hard. Maybe he didn't even hit the wall. Maybe he lost the engine or something out the back. Maybe it was some oil or something that he dropped on the racetrack. But there was a big cloud of smoke up in 2, and when I looked up, I saw him up against the outside wall and thought he might have bounced off it.
Not a good sign when those gloves come off.
Yeah, you have to tell us slow as he's coming down pit road. He's had some type of problem that's got his finger pointing out the window. Let me turn in the garage area, guys. I'm not going to my pit area. His day is over with whatever caused the problem.
So Ricky Rudd's hope to extend his streak of consecutive years with a Winston Cup win to 17. It's not going to happen here today at Homestead, and he's just got one race left in 1999 to try and get that done. So first caution of this race is going to give people like Mark Martin and Dale Jarrett a chance to catch up to Bobby Labonte and Tony Stewart. Not only that, it's going to give their pit crews a chance to see if they can get him some track position on the man that has dominated. Take a quick look at the two incidents.
What actually looks like Michael cut down a right front tire as far as the car was going there. It was really hard to say. We didn't see come back around, but you could see entering the corner. He was 3 lanes out of, he was out of the group, 3 lanes up from the bottom. And here's Ricky going down the front straightaway. We'll just have to see how it plays out here. You could hear something break loose inside the motor.
Yeah. And the sound of a roaring 700 horsepower engine goes silent very quickly. Pit stops to pit road first, Dorsey Schrader.
Jeff Burton brings the car in. He's been complaining about the car being a little tight in the middle of the corner and then being loose off. The guys did last time 1.5 rounds of wedge. They're going to do the same thing again. Also, they're going to add a 1 pound of air. Now, they're getting very, very good fuel mileage. Mike?
Larry McReynolds, another one of those crew chiefs trying to stretch this to distance on only 2 stops. This caution fell absolutely perfectly for him. Let's go to Marty Snyder.
Bobby Labonte is in, and for the first time all day, this car is showing that it's maybe human just a little bit. It is a little too tight early in a run. His teammate Tony Stewart will beat him off pit road because Tony Stewart had to make no adjustments. Bobby Labonte did. They used a little bit of a wedge adjustment to try and loosen him up early in a run.
So the pit crew for Tony Stewart gets the job done fastest and gets him out with the race lead. And this caution and the timing of these pit stops also sets up a question of fuel to the finish. We are 80 laps away from the checkered flag right now, and that's probably a little bit too far for everybody to run on a tank of fuel, I think.
Well, I'm going to go with you, Alan. We haven't seen that. The farthest we've seen anybody go today is about 64, 65 laps. They started the first cycle about lap 58, so we'll have to wait and see.
One thing that was interesting yesterday in the Busch race, gas mileage, 2 tires, 4 tires, splash of gas. They could definitely change the strategy here towards the end of this race.
Yeah, had an awful lot of things change around at the finish there with different teams playing around with different things. So Tony Stewart is back out with the race lead. John Andretti, this caution flag, a bad break for him. He had stopped under the green flag just a minute before the yellow came out, and that's going to put him a lap down back in 15th position.
That's an unfortunate situation. John's run so well all day, but that's the way the break happened. I think everybody was expecting this just to be a green flag race the way it's gone this far. He had a small incident up in turn 1 with Michael Waltrip. Then Ricky Rudd, the NASCAR probably might have thought there was something on the racetrack and had to get the debris cleaned up.
Besides John Andretti, also Ward Burton had stopped under the green flag before the yellow came out, so he's also going to be trapped behind. There's Andretti in now with the cars a lap or more down. Jeff Gordon, Ward Burton also in. Gordon was a lap down just because Bobby Labonte ran him down and passed him earlier under the green flag. But all of those drivers now 1 lap down, and we have, at this point, about 8, 9 cars on the lead lap is all we're going to have.
I'm pretty impressed. We're looking at 7th and 8th, which is Kyle Petty. We haven't talked about Kyle very much today. He's 7th with Dale Earnhardt in 8th, so guys are running very well today.
Put up on the Jerry Nadeau car under the caution flag pit stop as the teams finish up work on their machines. Caution for Ricky Rudd, who had a problem on the racetrack we suspect was engine related. Let's find out. Dorsey Schrader's with him.
I'm here with Ricky Rudd. Ricky, what happened?
Well, Dorsey, something broke in the motor. Not really sure exactly what it was. I told Robert and Doug Yates, I said, give me everything you've got. I don't care if it's experimental or not. If it lives, we'll be lucky. If it doesn't, we'll go for it. We need to go for it right now. Points don't really mean anything. And so they gave me something a little experimental. Unfortunately, didn't quite make the day, but we got next week.
Well, Alan, guys, tough break for Ricky Rudd.
So Rudd out, only the 2nd car in the garage area at this point. Darrell Waltrip the other. And we work the first caution of this Pennzoil 400 here at lap 189. Mike Massaro, John Andretti back for a 2nd pit stop.
That's right, Alan. They had problems on the first stop. 1 tire got away. It appears they may be being brought in for a stop-and-go penalty, just a splash of gas, and they're away. Alan?
Take a look at what happened to Andretti's team on the pit stop. This is something that we saw happen in the NASCAR Busch Series race yesterday to one of the race teams. Here it comes.
What you're seeing is the left rear tire, or basically it was the tire of the right rear, got away from them and rolled across the road.
And everybody else has to keep from hitting it, which would do a tremendous amount of damage to the car. What's the king think?
Oh, my God.
As a car owner, I can sympathize. I went to see Richard when I was thinking about getting in NASCAR, and I remember he looked at me and he said, wide.
Yeah. So Andretti back in for the penalty, and now back onto the speedway, but has lost a whole lot of track position. Tony Stewart is the race leader, getting ready to go back to green here very shortly. Bobby Labonte, Mark Martin, and Dale Jarrett are the rest of the top four. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
If you end up using anything but AC Delco parts in your car, who knows where you'll end up? AC Delco, if you're not asking for it, you're asking for it.
No matter what kind of car or truck that comes into my shop, there's one brand of automotive parts I can depend on. AC Delco. If you're not asking for it, you're asking for it.
Finding the perfect gift is never easy.
I'd like to see some jewelry for my girlfriend.
Would you like a diamond-studded cougar?
It's called Tigress. Hello.
There is a better way to shop. At Snap.com, you can find the perfect gift, whether it's CDs, electronics, or something a little more personal.
Beautiful. Did you pick this out all by yourself?
Sort of. Snap.com. Shop in a snap.
Sweetie?
Can the monsters get me?
Not a chance.
When you've got ADT, you've got the power of advanced home monitoring technology.
Good morning, this is
The
Diana.
power of experienced professionals helping to keep you safe.
Okay. Calling the fire department right now.
From burglary, fire, flooding, carbon monoxide, even the occasional monster. Call now and get ADT's sophisticated burglary system installed for as little as $99. Plus, get any one of these additional monitoring devices installed free.
And thank you for choosing ADT.
ADT helps protect more homes and families than any other security company in America. Call now and get the ADT burglary system installed for as little as $99, plus a free additional monitoring device. Sleep tight. Get the power of ADT.
Christy Yamaguchi, Victor Petrenko, Rosalind Sumners, and more. KBKids.com star skates goes country. Next Sunday at 4 Eastern on NBC.
The green flag just back in the air, the Pennzoil 400. Once again underway, it is Tony Stewart who got the jump. As we go back up to full speed racing, over Ward Burton, who is trying to get back onto the lead lap if he can.
Ward jumped yesterday in that bush race. It's interesting watching him there. He was so cautious. Tony probably got a good jump on him.
Not to make that same mistake twice. Now Bobby Labonte, the second place car, tries to put ninth place Ward Burton back one lap down. Got some lap machines mixed in and among the leaders here now as we work at lap 192 of 267. 75 laps from the conclusion of this event.
We were talking, Alan, about gas mileage. Trying to figure out if anybody can go. It doesn't look like, Mike, they can.
Well, I don't think so, but we've noticed, you'll see a stop coming up where Kyle Petty came back in on the, before we got ready to go there and topped off on fuel, so he's figuring he might be able to go the distance. There would be no other reason for him to come back down pit road and top off.
Kyle Petty running in the 8th position, and Brian Williams has an update. Brian?
Kyle Petty, the team, very, very proud of their fuel mileage. They were planning to do it with just one stop before this last yellow. They will no doubt try to reenact that plan. Evidently, the Hot Wheels Pontiac is getting extraordinary gas mileage today, the kind the gas mileage pros like Bobby Labonte have enjoyed in the past. Back to you.
Brian, he's going to have to go 77 laps on this very flat mile-and-a-half track on that one tank of fuel. That is much farther than we've seen anyone go so far today. But, who knows?
You never know. They might have put Kyle in a fuel conservation mode right now, which I mean, easy on the throttle. You know, don't kick in the carburetor any too quick, and just drive the thing to the end and try to win us a race on fuel mileage only.
I don't think he can do it. I really don't think he can go that far on this particular racetrack. The driver has to work the throttle way too hard in the corner, and there are too many variables to trying to conserve fuel at this racetrack versus a track with steeper banking. So Kyle Petty going to try and make it work. He's in 8th position right now as Wally Dallenbach slides way up the racetrack in turn number 2. Wally running back in 21st position, 1 lap down to the race leader.
What happens there, you get in the corner just a little too aggressive, a little too hard, the front end flips up from underneath you, and you're just trying to hang on to that thing to get it back down in the groove.
Looking inside. 14, looking inside. He's there.
That's Wally Dahlbeck spotting you here.
Still there. Inside.
They make you aware of that because you're wanting to get back down to the bottom of the racetrack as soon as you possibly can. And unfortunately, with the car up underneath, you can't do that, so the spotter's telling you where he's at. As soon as he says clear, then you're working your way back to the bottom.
Plus, the visibility out of these race cars is not the most terrific in the world. You have blind spots in your passenger car. You've got maybe even more blind spots when you're strapped inside one of these Winston Cup cars as Joe Nemechek almost gets in to the car of Stacy Compton. Nemechek had just taken that 20th position away from Wally Dallenbach a minute ago. He's going to give it right back to him now. It's been a difficult week for Joe Nemechek and the entire Sapco racing team. Nemechek and Sterling Marlin, the 2 team cars here. Marty Snyder has more on why.
Well, it's certainly been an emotional week, Alan. Of course, Nemechek winning the NASCAR Busch Series race yesterday. But on Thursday at around noon, the team lost 1 team member and another one in the hospital due to a car accident. T.L. Stiles, who had been with Sapco from the very beginning, was tragically killed in a car accident in Charlotte. And Lynn Sherrill, another teammate, who is now in good condition in the hospital, we're happy to report, were both in a car accident. And it was a very tragic thing for this race team. This car that Joe Nemechek is driving was one of their pride and joys. They hand-fabricated this car, and it's the car that Joe won with at New Hampshire. And if they win, the team definitely wants to dedicate the weekend to T.L. Stiles, one of their fallen teammates.
Tough loss for the entire Sapco team and everyone in the NASCAR community here this weekend thinking about T.L. Stiles' family back in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. Here is the race for the lead. 69 laps to go. The teammates of our colleague Joe Gibbs running 1 and 2. Tony Stewart and Bobby Labonte trying to settle this thing among themselves. Here's Stewart up the racetrack, and Bobby's going to try and get it back.
Just don't hit each other.
I'll tell you what, it'd be nice if he had a camera on Joe right now because the emotions, he's been standing up, hasn't been moving. He's tense.
Labonte back to the lead. Stewart back to second spot. 68 laps to go, plus a fuel mileage factor into the equation in deciding who'll be the winner of the Pennzoil 400. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
I need to run. I need to be strong. I need to be fast. I need to keep going. I need to remember not to set my Budweiser on the back of some truck. I need a doctor. I need to run.
He's in the garage.
Hey! If you're going to have a garage, have a garage. And if you're going to use an oil, use an oil. Pennzoil with pure base, specially formulated for stop-and-go driving.
Like what I've done with the place? Hey, what does this do? Well, that opens up the roof so I can airlift anything in or out of the garage.
Stop. Go. Pennzoil. And keep your car smelling just the way you like it. Ultra North air fresheners. Over 35 fragrances.
You know, my first racing days were pretty rough. With my wheels set so close together, I was always getting loose in the turns. Now that I'm trading paint with the big boys, wider is better.
The Wide Track Grand Prix delivers precise control in the corners. No wonder it's been selected official pace car of NASCAR.
There's no getting around it. Wider.
Wider is better. The Wide Track Grand Prix by Pontiac. Now you can lease the 2000 Grand Prix GT sedan for as low as $275 a month. Call for important lease details. See your local Pontiac dealer today.
Oh, it looks so beautiful. Oh, honey, what's the matter?
Mommy, I can't sleep.
You're just excited about tomorrow, Dan. Back into bed, Tiger.
Come to Lowe's for a great selection of trees and trimmings. At prices so low, you won't know when to stop decorating. Lowe's. Great gifts, great prices.
For years, I watched them. They were supermen. We'd go out and practice for hours because we wanted to be just like them.
Saw it turn now.
NBC Sports coverage of the Pennzoil 400 for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series from Miami, Florida. It is the Ironman Triathlon coming up next here on NBC. The ultimate test of endurance. Some of the best athletes in the world accepting the ultimate challenge of swimming, biking, and then running a marathon in the Hawaiian heat. The finish, just getting there, is considered amazing. It's the Ironman Triathlon next here on NBC.
Well, we won't have anybody asking, are these guys athletes? I've coached a lot of good ones in football and auto racing. I think if I told any of our guys that you're going to have to swim 2.4 miles, they couldn't make it. Or 112 miles on a bike, are you kidding? Or a 26-mile run. To put all those together, pretty amazing feat.
Wow. I don't think that I would like to do that. But I have a great deal of respect for anybody who can. That's for sure. And that is up next here on NBC. Today's star athlete is the man behind the wheel of that Pontiac, Bobby Labonte, who is in pursuit of the victory in the Pennzoil 400. There he is at work in the office. Labonte seeking his 5th victory of the 1999 season. He has been the dominant driver in today's race. Unfortunately for Bobby, it's not going to be good enough if things finish as they are now. Dale Jarrett is running in 5th position. He has led a lap today, so Jarrett would come away from this race with enough points to lock up the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship for the season and take the big trophy home.
I was just thinking about something, Alan, when Ricky Rudd, that motor let go. I hope they probably didn't tell Dale, did they? I know that was an experimental piece. Robert Yates stuff very rarely breaks, but I think that would probably send a little shockwave through Dale.
Yeah.
I don't think he's got the same thing Ricky had in that car.
I would think not, that's for sure. Jeff Burton has moved up to the 3rd position with Martin, Jarrett, and Earnhardt rounding out the rest of the top 6, and there are only 8 cars on the lead lap, finished by Mike Skinner and Kyle Petty. Let's go back to Brian Williams.
Got an update for you on the top 2 cars from the Labonte camp. Bobby says to the crew, the plan is to pit with 10 laps remaining. That's an important bit of news. Also, the Stewart pit is on the lookout for smoke, possibility of smoke coming out of the back of the number 20 Home Depot Pontiac. We'll update you on both.
So keep our eyes on that. And remember, we do have a fuel mileage equation hanging over the balance of this event. There are 60 laps to go. The leaders all pitted with 80 to go, which is too far to run to the checkers on fuel. Kyle Petty came back in before we got the restart from the only caution of the race, topped off his fuel. We believe he's going to try and run the final 77 laps to the finish without stopping.
Well, Joe, you can breathe. I don't see any smoke there, so you're going to be all right with the 20 car.
So what happens, Mike, at this point? I got to tell you the truth. My feelings are always as an owner, I'm sitting there saying, now I start holding my breath. Cars have ran good all day, but really, very few cars out of this race. Should something happen to one of your cars now, you're finishing
way
in
back.
the 3rd. Way back.
Only 3 cars are in the garage.
This you can't relax, and I get extremely nervous from this point on.
You know, I would like to compliment on the job the guys have done all day today. You know, we started the show saying how temperamental this racetrack, how narrow groove it was, but it shows the caliber of Winston Cup drivers and teams. We had 1 caution, a small incident, nothing major. We started the race thinking that we were going to have a lot of cautions in it, and it's been a very clean race.
Only three cars are behind the wall. Ricky Rudd went out with an engine problem at lap 184. Ted Musgrave has retired with an ignition problem. He's back in the garage. And Darrell Waltrip, with handling troubles, completed only 85 laps of this event. Getting down to the finish, 57 laps to go in the Pennzoil 400. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
You know, this place reminds me of a guy I knew named Julius.
Another Darrell Waltrip story.
Oh, really. This guy, he was in the junkyard one day, kicking around, and he found a rocket booster. So he says, I'm going to set myself a land speed record. Now, he got that thing up to speed. He hit the switch. He took off into outer space.
So whatever happened to him?
He came down out here somewhere.
Get out of here.
Oh.
Now, Kmart.
Go right there.
Right there, baby.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Right there, baby. That's all you, man.
like those guys.
That's one race that I wish I could run over one more time.
The legendary Daytona 500 has broken a lot of hearts.
I was way out front in 1981, and that thing ran out of gas.
In 74, I blew a tire with 12 laps to go.
But the biggest heartbreak of all would be trying to get into Daytona International Speedway using an American Express card. So if you want to enjoy the heart-pounding excitement of Daytona, bring your Visa card, official card of NASCAR.
My girlfriend let me here at Daytona. I sure miss that car.
What's happened to the nightlife as we know it? New Sprint Nickel Night, that's what. Now calling card calls are just 5 cents a minute too. All night long. 5 cents a minute at home and on the road. Wherever you are, you're free to talk the night away. And isn't that the point of contact? Move to Sprint Nickel Night. Call 1-800-PEN-DROP.
Next Saturday, senior quarterback Jarius Jackson and the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame play their home finale versus Boston College. Next Saturday at 2:30 Eastern on NBC.
Brian Williams welcoming you back to our coverage of the Pennzoil 400. And there's the man, Dale Jarrett, who may very well leave this track today with the Winston Cup itself hoisted above him. His father, former NASCAR champ Ned Jarrett, is of counsel, kind of the expert gray eminence of the family, coaching his son from time to time via radio on top of the main grandstands. Back when Ned Jarrett was NASCAR champion, as you might imagine, there were from time to time TV cameras in the Jarrett home. In one such instance, Ned Jarrett made a prediction. Here it is.
Hi, Dale. How'd you go today? Make good grades in school? Now, my oldest son, Glenn, he is a good athlete, but Dale, he seems destined to become a race driver.
10-year-old speed demon Dale Jarrett, and now Dorsey Schrader is up with one of the true gentlemen of the circuit, Ned Jarrett.
Ned, the time draws so very near. What are your thoughts?
Well, I tell you, it's an exciting time right now, but it's a very nervous time, too. You know, he's in good position there. If he can just stay on the lead lap to the end of the race, you know, the championship is his. But we know there are a lot of things that can happen, so we just sort of saying a prayer and holding our breath.
Alan, a very, very nervous and proud papa right here.
I can hear the excitement in Ned's voice. I've known him for a long, long time, and you can just hear it just waiting to bubble over when this thing is over.
Well, Ned, I got to tell you the truth. What a family. My favorite is Martha. She used to tell me stories. That's Ned's wife, Dale's mother. She used to tell me stories about coming to the racetrack, and she was pregnant with Dale, coming to the racetrack to watch Ned race. And here he is. Dale really has grown up in the infields, running all over on these small bikes, and what a story. Neat family, neat guy, and certainly right now I think they're all nervous. Wherever Martha is, she's nervous right now.
Couple of things to be decided in the final laps of this one. Who will win the race? Bobby Labonte, Tony Stewart, or Jeff Burton, who is closing quickly in third position. He's about 3 seconds behind. He's making up a little bit of ground on these front two. Not a ton, but a little as we look back to Burton. Now here's Dale Jarrett running in fifth position, hoping to close out the championship. Let's go to Marty Snyder on pit road.
Well, Alan, last Christmas at the Christmas party for the Robert Yates team, the 88 bunch, Dale Jarrett handed out this card. And it reads, "It's amazing how much can be accomplished if no one cares who gets the credit." And Dale Jarrett said in the Christmas party, if we truly adopt this as our motto, guys, we will win the Winston Cup Championship. Now, it's not as flashy as refuse to lose or something like that, but it's been their mantra all year long. They made a banner of this. Each one of these team members still carries this card in their pocket to this day, and it has been their motto. And Coach Joe Gibbs, I know you can tell us a little bit about motivation. I believe Dale Jarrett knows a little bit about motivation as well.
He certainly does. I tell you this guy wants to win. Matter of fact, one of the stories about Dale, they say he probably could have been a pro golfer, but made a decision. Like I said at the opening of the show, he said, the very first time I got in the car, I made the first lap of a little small track, and he said, this is what I want to do the rest of my life. And so closing in on a dream.
Bobby Labonte is trying to close out his season in fine fashion, even if he doesn't win the championship. Looking to win today here in Homestead. One more race to go in the season. That is next Sunday in Atlanta, Georgia. Labonte, though, with his teammate Tony Stewart behind him, who is just as hungry for another trip to victory lane.
you know, going back just for a second, Alan, talking about what we were talking about Dale Jarrett there in regards to his motivation of the team. With Joe sitting here and his background in football, Dale is like a quarterback. He's the guy that's keeping everybody moraled up all the time. Things get down, he's the one who needs to get in there and get them pumped up. Even though the crew chief does that too, the driver is the guy. He sets the tone for the race, the weekend, the year, everything.
In the two sports I've been in, and it's a corny thing, people say, well, hey, you know, sacrificing for each other, teamwork, and you hear that all the time. That really, truly is it. It's the team that's able to grab that kind of chemistry, people willing to sacrifice for each other. It's always been the same thing in all pro sports. That's why I love it. The people are willing to pay a price, sacrifice for your teammate. What can you do to get the team to the top? And it's the same in this sport, auto racing, as it was for me in the NFL.
Looking back into the top 10 a little bit deeper, here's Dale Earnhardt in 7th spot. Maybe going to lose that to Kyle Petty. He just did lose the 6th position to his teammate Mike Skinner a couple of laps ago. And Earnhardt's car continuing to run up the racetrack in the corners at either end of the speedway.
Yeah, it's just, you know, again, we're getting later in the tire run again. There's not a whole lot they can do. They haven't hit the chassis setup. That's what's causing that problem. Compared to Bobby Labonte or Tony Stewart, where the car is driving around the bottom, they've hit the chassis setup. And what that means is making sure you got the right springs in the car, matched with the right shock absorbers. They can valve these shocks in a multitude of different ways now, along with the right sway bars, track bar adjustment, and wedge. That all goes into play as a chassis setup.
Very complicated laws of physics and geometry applied to making these 3,400-pound race cars go. Some teams have hit it better than others on any given day, and Earnhardt's team right now needs to hit it a little bit better than they are from the looks of the way his car is going up the racetrack in the corner. Kyle Petty, remember, is trying to make the economy run for the final 77 laps on one tank of fuel. We think that's going to be a little too much, or at least I think it's going to be much, but we'll find out here in a couple of minutes. Looking a little bit deeper back in the 10th position, this should be Rusty Wallace. Haven't talked about him a whole lot. He is a lap down, but since getting a lap down, the next pit stop they made, adjustments up on his car, seem to have picked him up to a pace where he hasn't fallen back any, and in fact has picked up a couple of more positions from where he was.
You know, the one thing, this is the type of race, unfortunately, Rusty's a lap down, but it plays into his hands very well. What I mean by that, he's a great chassis man. Great chassis man means he can relate to the crew chief. What kind of adjustments will need to be made to that car? He most likely is calling the shots in the car what he wants. Telling Robin air pressure adjustments, things of that nature, track bar. That's one thing Rusty Wallace is excellent at.
And he is racing Jeremy Mayfield for position there. That'd be the 10th and 11th spots. Brian Williams has a thought on Rusty Wallace as well.
Rusty, earlier in the pits, it was like a flash frame from 10 years ago, deluged by Rusty's Warriors, his usual pack of autograph hounds. He told me he was especially excited and pumped up, as he put it today, because of his experience on flat tracks. He assumes that will fold over into today. Sadly, at 10th and a lap down, it hasn't, but a lot of optimism on the Miller Lite team going into this, all the way up to the owner, down to the driver. Back to you.
Once again, going back to the Dale Earnhardt-Kyle Petty race for the 7th and 8th positions. These now the last two cars on the lead lap. So if Dale Jarrett can stay on the lead lap, that one and only caution flag we've had here has helped him by cutting down the possible loss of positions he might have should his car get ill handling. Down to pit road to Mike Massaro.
Well, Alan, pulling the crews down on this end of pit road, it appears that everybody wants to see another yellow flag before the checkers. Nobody, including the 99, the 40, or the 44, can go the distance. They're looking at a window somewhere between 10 and 15 laps to go to come in and top off. Alan?
Well, they're basically telling us they're not going to go the distance now. You know, they even topped off thinking to gamble, but they're going to be 10 laps short. So they're going to have to stop. They're hoping for that caution, as Mike mentioned there, because they want to make an adjustment. You see Tony Stewart closing up on the back of Bobby Labonte.
For the race lead, this would be. Labonte didn't get off that corner well at all, and Stewart is right up on the back neck now versus the 3 or 4 car lengths he was behind a minute ago. We saw this in that last run. Excuse me just for a second, Coach. The farther we got into the set of tires, the stronger Tony got versus Bobby, and now that we're moving laps along, we seem to be headed that way again, and that's not good news if you're Bobby and wanting to win this race.
Yeah, it seems as though Bobby's car, and when you match them up, and that's what we talked about those long runs, Mike, Looks like Tony's car may be a tick better on the long run. Right there, you see Bobby get loose a little bit.
You see what happens there is that Tony got up underneath Bobby in the back. That takes the air off the spoiler, loosens him up. Tony's car's turning a little bit better, but they got one more shot at Bobby to keep in tow with him most likely here. And but you know, we've seen last week how good Tony Stewart was in regards to these flat racetracks, and the team that he's got around him really got this deal figured out.
Mike, do you think that some of the guys may take the 2 tires when they come in for a splash, or what determines that? Just a splash of gas, or are you going to try and get 2 tires on there for the last 10 to 15 laps?
I would say, Joe, they'll only go a splash of gas because you can come down and put gas enough to go to the finish in 3 to 4 seconds. If you stop for tires, right sides only, it's going to take 8 or 9 seconds. So I'd say it's exactly how it plays out, or see how it plays out, but I would assume you're going to see stop and goes, splash of fuel, and get out of there.
16th lead change in the race. Tony Stewart by Bobby Labonte with 38 laps to go. And what should be a dramatic series of visits to pit road in the final laps, determining the outcome of this one. So many different ways a pit stop can confuse things, can cost you time, and all of that still to play out here in Homestead. Stewart, Labonte, Jeff Burton, Mark Martin, and Dale Jarrett are your leaders. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
Right here, buddy. It's icy cold and tasting great. Now, come on, Jeff, you tell me, is there anybody in this world who deserves this here Pepsi more than you?
Hi, Jeff.
See you later, Jeff.
Now, that's what I call motivation.
I don't know where she came from.
Don't worry, Jeff. There's always Daytona.
Finding the perfect gift is never easy.
I'd like to see some jewelry for my girlfriend.
Would you like a diamond-studded cougar?
It's called Tigress.
Hello.
There is a better way to shop. At Snap.com, you can find the perfect gift, whether it's CDs, electronics, or something a little more personal.
Beautiful. Did you pick this out all by yourself?
Sort of. Snap.com. Shop in a snap.
You're watching NBC.
You really saved us a lot of money on those tires.
Okay. I just didn't think they were going to hammer us for mounting, balancing, valsing, and tire disposal. Boy, were they surprised when I declined.
At Henne's Tire Service, we know you don't like surprises, and neither do we. The price we quote is the price you pay. You'll find a wide selection of world-class tires at a price you can afford. Give us a call. We're in the yellow pages. Compare the total price. We beat the competition.
It's prime time for time. Route 30, Paradise.
He bought a condemned house in a high-crime area. Find out why on 1230 Live.
Log on to NASCAR.com for your online source to America's hottest racing circuit. All the news, results, and a real-time look at the point standings before and after each race. Plus, audio wrap-ups and a special cyber chat with some of NASCAR's biggest stars. Hey, we like that. NASCAR.com, the official site of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing. NBC Sports in Homestead, Florida, at the Homestead-Miami Speedway, where the inaugural running of the NASCAR Winston Cup Series Pennzoil 400 is getting down to its final moments. It is Tony Stewart, the race leader, one of the most successful rookie drivers in the history of the NASCAR Winston Cup season. Here's a comparison of Stewart's performance in '99 against some pretty familiar names as far as success in the sport back in their rookie seasons.
One of the things I appreciate about Tony is when you think back to him, his parents really never gave him anything. He earned everything he had. Didn't come from a lot of money, and great parents that followed him and everything, encouraged him, but he earned everything he did driving a race car. Worked his way up. People said, hey, come and drive my car because you're good. And I did the same thing.
Yeah, there you go. 28-year-old from Rushville, Indiana, is Tony Stewart. 2 wins in his rookie season so far. He has been the top rookie in 30 of the 32 races this season. The big upcoming event for Stewart at the conclusion of this racing season, he is about to tie the knot and get married, as is his crew chief, Greg Zipadelli. So a lot of nuptials about to happen here in the Joe Gibbs Racing Shop.
Getting it all done after the season, if you notice.
Well, you have to schedule those things out that way, don't you? I don't think the coach would give them the time off of work to go on the honeymoon.
They'd be in trouble if they had a rain date. They'd run it a week longer, wouldn't they?
Don't let a honeymoon interfere with good racing here.
I got to make a quick joke of that. My wife will appreciate this. When I got married, Carl and I have been married for 20 years. My brother Rusty made a toast. I got a picture from him. He goes, "May this marriage never interfere with my brother's racing." And let me tell you, it wasn't the most pleasant sight on her face when he said that.
I would think not, no. 30 laps to go in this one now. Stewart has opened up a 1.3-second lead on Bobby Labonte. Jeff Burton is 2.8 seconds back in third position. There you see Stewart closing in on the Terry Labonte car, running back in 32nd position. Terry running 4 laps down to the race leader and about to be put 5 when Stewart catches up and goes on by him. The big question still to come, when will the final green flag stops for the leaders happen? Will we get a caution somewhere in here to bring everybody onto pit road at the same time? All of that still to play out over these final 30 laps. Tony Stewart and his sponsor Home Depot, despite all of their on-track successes of 1999, have had some off-track successes as well. Tony and the company involved in the Habitat for Humanity program. And there's Tony at work on a house in the Charlotte area, along with Coach Gibbs and the couple who will inhabit the house when it is done. A worthwhile project, a terrific effort by Joe and Tony and Home Depot.
We had one rule, no power tools for you, Tony. I don't want you getting hurt. I think he's going to hurt himself with that hammer, to tell you the truth. That left hand out there wailing away.
It always comes back to that with you, doesn't it? Don't get hurt off the racetrack. Give us your best on the track. 28 to go. As Stewart continues motoring around, he'll put a lap here on Joe Nemechek, the 22nd place car. That'll put Nemechek 3 laps down now as Stewart goes on by him. Story of this race so far, only one caution flag in the event. It has been a green flag affair throughout the afternoon, despite our fears at the start of the day that we might have a wreck fest. As difficult as this racetrack, and in particular Turn 4, have been throughout the weekend, it's been an exceptionally clean race so far. The only caution flag for Ricky Rudd's blown engine at lap number 186. There's Stewart to the inside of Bill Elliott. Elliott running in 28th position. He goes 3 laps down. Michael Waltrip bounced off the wall in Turn 2 after what we suspect was a flat tire earlier in the event. He is back in 36th position, and he goes 6 laps down. Now, beginning to see some of the final pit stops here. Kenny Wallace is in, 26 to go, and we saw him take right-side tires. You were speculating on that earlier, Mike.
What you're seeing, though, it's 26 laps to go. We were talking in a 10-lap-to-go situation. Kenny's stopping early. He thinks he can make up some time on the field with fresher tires. You know, he's going to go out there. He needs fuel anyway. They played this out at Loudon, and it worked out well for him there. Everybody's going to stop. They can make up another half-second a lap, and the guys that are running out there with older tires. Smart move.
Here's Dale Earnhardt waving at Kyle Petty as they race for the 7th and 8th spots, saying, "Go on, Kyle. Come on by."
You seen that move? He knew what was going on, but told Kyle to get to the bottom, go on by him. He'll race with him, and now they got jammed up getting off the corner here.
Yeah, that's close. Just about gets into the back bumper, but they get away clean. Kyle Petty now taking over the 7th position. Do you know he's already had 4 7th-place finishes in 1999, and those have been his best runs of the season. He could get a 5th one today if he can hold this position through the end of the race.
Well, you can see Dale Earnhardt's car in that past picture there would not handle at all. You know, there's a picture of Tony Stewart. We were talking about the office. That's the driver's area. The little area we're looking at right up in this area here, you'll see this hose. That's an air cooling hose that runs down to a NACA duct, which is a NACA duct, draws air in, and there's a heat exchanger. Basically takes the hot air from outside, turns it a little colder. Some NASA development. And that's running down in Tony's chest area. That's what he's trying to combat this heat that's inside the cars with. Today, you know, it's, as I said earlier, it's about 40 to 50 degrees hotter inside the car. That's the way the drivers combat it.
Bobby Labonte has dived into the pit lane. Bobby Labonte in, 24 laps to go. Much earlier than we suspected we might see him. We got the report that they were planning on pitting at 10 laps to go earlier, but here's Bobby in with 24 to go. maybe just feeling like his car's handling had given up too much?
He might be saying, Mike, hey, let's put 2 tires on here because I might have a chance to run them down. Without that, if I wait for a splash of gas, I'm not going to.
Let's go to Marty Snyder.
What he actually said was, this is the only way we're going to beat our teammate Tony Stewart because we need those right side tires, just like Kenny Wallace took. It's going to be fuel and right side tires. 8.7 for second stop for Bobby Labonte.
So Bobby makes the first move among the leaders to the pit lane and heads back up onto the speedway.
What you see, Dave, Bobby Labonte has just forced everybody else's hand. Kenny Wallace started. Bobby Labonte has forced all the leaders. They're all going to short pit now. I really doubt if you're going to see them run to the very end and just splash and go.
Okay, we'll find out here over the next several laps. 22 laps to go here. Stewart leading Jeff Burton, watching Tony Stewart to see if he comes onto the pit lane. And as he motors on around, he'll bypass it this time by as he comes up off of turn 4 to the start-finish line and complete another lap. There's Stewart on the speedway. Jeff Burton is now the second-place car. Mark Martin is up to third. Here is John Andretti coming in, the 16th place machine for a stop.
We're starting to see cars on pit road. You see John Andretti on his pit stop. Other cars are coming down pit road. Again, I think Labonte has forced their hand, so you got to get them right sides. I've got them. Come on, guys. You got to get them with me.
The big key to this would be Tony Stewart, Jeff Burton, and Mark Martin, and how long they wait before they come down the pit lane. Predictions, Coach?
That was a great stop, by the way. 2 tires and get you enough gas to go, you know, Mike. Good stop by Bobby, so you're probably right. He is going to force some of the guys.
And by the way, while we're watching Tony Stewart lead, Dale Jarrett is closing on Mark Martin for third position. So Dale is running down Mark just a little bit. He's within about 4 or 5 car lengths for that spot. Down the back straightaway, Chad Little slowing down. A little smoke from his machine. Maybe a problem there for Chad. As Tony Stewart, the race leader. Does he come to pit road? Yes, he does. Looking there at Dale Jarrett, trying to catch Mark Martin for third. But here is Stewart going to short pit. This with 20 laps to go.
I'm going to tell you what, he did such a phenomenal job. The entrance to pit road was so fast. I thought I seen him pulling down on the racetrack, but he entered at such a high rate of speed, so he did his job there.
Marty Snyder will cover the Tony Stewart pit stop for us.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mike Wallace, you called it exactly right. Bobby Labonte forced their hand. They wanted to stay on old tires because they're great on these old tires. But Bobby Labonte forced their hand with those right side tires. Bobby Labonte would be faster. So they're going to come in, take 2 tires, no adjustments, just fuel and new tires. Tony Stewart back out on the racetrack, 8 seconds flat.
Jeff Burton takes the lead after the stop, but here is Burton diving onto the pit lane. So that'll set Mark Martin up into the race lead if he doesn't stop this time around. Tony Stewart racing Bobby Labonte off the pit lane, off that access road, up onto the racetrack. Who's going to come out with the race lead? Into turn 3. Stewart still got the fender inside. Side by side into the corner. Do they make contact, or does Bobby let him get it? Bobby's up the racetrack. Labonte's up out of the groove. Stewart will come out ahead of him.
Well, the coach is nodding his head here. Bobby had to run up on the outside of him there.
That was scary. That was scary.
I guarantee it was scary for Bobby, too.
Tony had the inside groove, and he didn't want to give it up.
Here's Dale Jarrett coming down the pit lane for service. Jarrett in with 17 laps to go. Jeff Burton has been in. Mark Martin is now the race leader.
You know, I would like to compliment how good a pit stop they had there, because he was about 2 seconds behind Tony Stewart, and they come out even there.
Let's cover the Dale Jarrett pit stop as he rolls into his pit stall. Marty?
Well, the 88 bunch did not want to stop the right side tires if they had to, but again, the hand has been forced by Bobby Labonte taking the right side tires. They just wanted to put fuel only. Robert Yates had it figured. They only needed 7 gallons. They're definitely going to get that as they change right side tires. 8.5 seconds for the would-be champion.
So Jarrett rolls back onto the racetrack, now waiting for Mark Martin to stop. There is Robert Yates, watching, I'm sure, very anxiously over his team's execution of that stop and their attempts to lock up the championship in these final laps. Here's Mark Martin, the race leader now. Let's go back and look once again into turn 3 as Tony Stewart tried to force his way up inside of his teammate Bobby Labonte.
Unfortunately, that could have been a very bad situation. It turned out because Bobby's such an experienced driver, but you actually see Tony get into him and get loose at the same time. Coach, unfortunately, or fortunately, they got away with it, but you about had 2 wrecked race cars there.
Yes, we could have. And getting hit from behind there, too. That was close. Very close.
Right now, I'm sure Bobby Labonte's driving his butt off. He probably didn't appreciate a whole lot of Tony not giving him a break, but aggressively get after him.
Let's go over to Brian Williams.
Well, we've been monitoring the radio traffic. It's a good thing it's not wire to wire. It's wireless, or they'd burn him up. This will come as no surprise. Bobby Labonte, not a happy driver right now. One of the quotes we can use on television was that Tony Stewart, quote, come out here with his new tires and run us into the wall. The talk is now among the spotters from the various teams, but it seems there is trouble in Joe Gibbs' driving paradise back up to the booth.
A comment?
Both these guys very, very competitive. And I think at any time, hey, right now, who can win the race? Both these drivers very competitive. And we've never had a deal in our race team. It's whoever can win it. And like you say, that was a very close call there. I think both these guys are very aggressive and wanting to win it. And I know how Bobby feels right now.
Unfortunately for Bobby, the little run up the racetrack has cost him quite a bit of ground. He's back into the 5th position because of that. Remembering that Mark Martin and Kyle Petty, the top 2, have yet to stop. Now, looking on the racetrack, a key pass about to happen. Tony Stewart getting around Jeff Burton there. Burton had actually beat Stewart off the pit lane. And so Tony has just gotten around him, and that was critically important if Martin and Kyle Petty both end up stopping for fuel. There you see Stewart coming to the bottom of the screen, having just executed the pass on Jeff Burton. So Burton's team actually got him off the pit lane first, ahead of Stewart, while we were watching Stewart and Bobby Labonte, but Tony ran him down and has gotten on by.
You actually seen in the corner there, just feel how good Tony's car is. Both the cars of Joe's are just excellent today.
Mark Martin is still the leader. When or will he come down the pit lane for fuel? We'll find out when we come back for the finish in just a moment. Martin, Petty, Stewart, and Burton, the top 5. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
A bear fell down the hill. What will I do? Mom, what's this word?
Sound it out.
Mountain.
That's right.
At last, the bear made it to the top.
You just read that whole book. Let's celebrate.
Okay.
Here you are. Thank you.
Happy Meal. Happy Meal, please.
AT&T, 7 cents a minute, all day, every day.
Take one of these. That'll be 25 cents. But it says here it's a nickel. Not for a couple of hours. What? Well, see, sometimes it's a nickel, but right now, it's a quarter. It's like that long-distance nickel plan where they say it's a nickel. Sometimes they charge you 25. That's right. That's where we got the idea. Is that right?
7 cents a minute, all day, every day, even to Canada with our international plan.
You know, there are some stores that sell candy for one low price all day long. And people like it? Oh, they love it.
Call 1-800-41-RATE to enroll.
Winter driving can be a bit unsettling. So right now at Sears, you'll find all Goodyear tires on sale. Like our new all-season tires, a Goodyear Weather Handler LS. We're rolling them out with savings of $16 to $28 when you buy 4. That's a relief. All Goodyear tires on sale. Sears, the good life at a great price. Guaranteed.
9 years ago, Wade Pettengill started as a Jiffy Lube technician, put himself through college, and into management. He'll tell you that signature service is more than just an oil change. Wherever you live, you'll find experienced people just like Wade at your neighborhood Jiffy Lube. Jiffy Lube signature service oil change. Our name is on the line, and we offer Pennzoil.
Welcome back to Homestead, everyone, with NBC's coverage of the Pennzoil 400 and a little controversy on the racetrack with the Gibbs team. Jimmy Nakar, you've kind of got to play the middle between Bobby Labonte and Tony Stewart. What happened?
I'm not sure I heard what you said right there, but you got ourselves a little bit of trouble there. Tony came out of the pits, he slid up into us, guys out of the groove, and that really killed any chance we got today.
And that is Jimmy Nakar's view. He kind of has to play the middle. He is Bobby Labonte's crew chief, but kind of the team manager of Tony Stewart's team at the same time.
Mark Martin has visited pit road while you were away in the break. He has come down for his fuel and got fuel only. And Kyle Petty has also come onto the pit lane. So you are looking at the race leader, Tony Stewart. He is up 2.18 seconds on Jeff Burton and 3.87 seconds on Bobby Labonte with 8 laps to go. Jeff Burton took fuel only on his stop. We need to make sure we mention that. Stewart has the pressure right side tires. Burton got fuel only on his stop. And so it appears that Stewart is in pretty good shape here as we get down into the final laps with 7 to go.
Well, it definitely shows out to be what, you know, we talked earlier when Bobby Labonte come down pit road, he forced everybody's hand. Everybody's got right sides except for Jeff Burton. Right now, Tony Stewart is in command of the race with 7 laps to go.
It'll be interesting to see if Bobby now can run down Burton.
Not all that far behind him. You look at the interval between the two. As Burton on the older tires slides a little bit wide in 3, and look at Bobby eat up the ground between them as they come around the corner.
I can say that was a quick decision on if it's better or not. So I would say within the next lap or 2, he should be able to get by Jeff, as Jeff's car drives the same way both ends of the racetrack.
Farther back, Dale Jarrett is running in 5th position. If things end as they are now, Jarrett is the 99 NASCAR Winston Cup champion. He's got to make it 6 more laps around to the checkered flag before that happens.
A lot of intensity there, 6 laps. So he's listening to everything in that car right now, every growl and grunt that is here, and hoping it's just going to finish for him.
I mentioned a while ago we saw Chad Little slowing on the back straightaway with some smoke from his car. He has taken that Ford to the garage area and appears to be the 4th driver who will not finish this race. Drama building for Robert Yates, the veteran engine builder who gambled everything that he had on buying this race team from Harry Ranier and J.T. Lundy when it was in some financial difficulties back in the 1980s. It may pay off today with his first NASCAR Winston Cup championship. Also the key member of this team, Todd Parrott, the crew chief. There he is. Todd Parrott has scored 18 victories as a Winston Cup crew chief, all of them since he and Dale Jarrett were paired together by Robert Yates. Parrott, the son of the great veteran Winston Cup crew chief, Buddy Parrott, looking to make his own mark on the sport, perhaps getting a championship ring just moments from now. 4 laps to go in the race for Dale Jarrett. 4 laps to go before he can claim the NASCAR Winston Cup title.
Phenomenal event for that team. You know, they started out both of them together. Todd Parrott, a rookie crew chief, coming to a championship with 4 laps to go. Can't ask for anything better. Robert Yates, who's dealt with this for years, a lot of adversity. Like to see them win their championship here today.
This shows you how hard this is. Robert Yates and the fact that how long it takes to win one of these things. You just got to have so much go your way. Got to have great cars, great drivers. When you can think about having a total of maybe 60 guys working on a race car back at the shop. I mean, that's how hard it is. Fabricating, making the cars, the motors. It's a very hard deal.
Bobby Labonte has gotten around Jeff Burton to take the 2nd spot. Unfortunately for Bobby, he is 4.4 seconds behind the leader, Tony Stewart, with 3 laps to go.
Tony's just having a great day. He's just got to play it cool, not get himself in any trouble these final 3 laps. And, you know, it looks like he'll set a new record for a rookie driver, winning 3 races in his rookie season.
Stewart trying to become the first ever to do that. Crosses the start-finish line. He's got 3 miles left in this race. The final 2 circuits around this racetrack. The daring race off of pit road for Tony Stewart down the backstretch with his teammate Bobby Labonte. He stuck the nose to the inside in turn 3. Contact between them. Labonte up the racetrack. Stewart by and into position to win this race. Time to settle it here in Homestead. White flag is in the air for Tony Stewart, trying to score his 3rd victory of the 99 season. The flag also up for Dale Jarrett in the final lap to try and complete his championship quest last time around.
It's awful exciting, Alan. This is 2 races within a race. We're going to see a winner and we're going to see a champion all at the same time.
Half a lap to go, 3/4 of a mile for Stewart. The 28-year-old from Rushville, Indiana, made his fame and fortune in open-wheel cars on the dirt and paved tracks of the Midwest. He's come to the NASCAR Winston Cup circuit in fine style in 1999. Checkered flag in the air. The inaugural Pennzoil 400 at Homestead goes to Tony Stewart. 3rd victory of the season for Stewart and his Joker's own team. Behind him, here comes Dale Jarrett off of turn number 4. He's going to finish the race in the 5th position. And Dale Jarrett has won the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship for 1999. A look of relief from the well-respected team owner, Robert Yates. The first championship for Jarrett and Yates. They've done it in 1999. Congratulations to them both.
Phenomenal day. Watching the reaction of the teams on pit road, Yates team so exuberant, so happy. Robert Yates, my hat's off to him.
There's also a feeling right now of relief. Believe me, Robert, Dale, everybody there's a relief. Hey, we finally won it. It's over. We can relax.
Marty?
Well, for 31 years, this man's been working in the sport. He's wanted as an engine builder to get some water poured on him by Brad Parrott. Robert, you've worked so hard for this. Oh, a little water back to Brad. There you go. How's the feeling?
Man, the count's over with, right?
It's over now.
Start counting again. That is done.
You just wanted this thing to be over with this weekend, didn't you?
Yeah, we didn't need no more pressure. Season's long enough. 1 week could probably be about 2 years if we had to wait the next week. So count again. And we can go race next week.
There you go. An emotional Robert Yates, well-deserved NASCAR Winston Cup championship car owner.
He gambled everything he had to buy the race team. It has paid off today as the NASCAR Winston Cup championship belongs to Yates. And that driver, Dale Jarrett, 42-year-old from Conover, North Carolina, that is in the west central part of the state. Jarrett, the son of the great two-time champion Ned. Many questioned whether he could get it done when he first went to work for Yates back in 1995. They did not find instant success together. But quickly, once he was paired with crew chief Todd Parrott, it became evident that they were going to be a force to be reckoned with in NASCAR competition for some time, and it has culminated today in Jarrett taking the NASCAR Winston Cup title.
Alan, I'm so happy for Dale Jarrett. It is so neat to see. I remember a couple years ago, I says, Dale, you're really running good. He says, yeah, I've been that 20-year overnight success. And now it's finally culminated with this championship, and it's just phenomenal. I mean, because Dale's 42 years old. Everybody says, you know, was he going to get it done? He has proved he is a driver that got it done.
So Dale Jarrett has locked up the Winston Cup title. Tony Stewart has won the Pennzoil 400, the championship celebration in Victory Lane, all coming up. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a moment. Stewart, Labonte, Burton, Martin, and Jarrett, your top 5. All the post-race interviews on the way in just a moment. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
With the blade setting early, those first ice boats had a lot of speed, but not a whole lot of control. Oh, geez. Learn the hard way. Wider is better.
With its speed-sensitive steering technology, the Wide Track Grand Prix gives you precise cornering and control.
Better, better.
Wider is better. The Wide Track Grand Prix by Pontiac. Now you can lease the 2000 Grand Prix GT sedan for as low as $275 a month. Call for important lease details. See your Pontiac dealer today.
These are Cobalt tools, the finest mechanics tools you can buy in any store. They've got contoured handles for a better grip. And the K-drive that grabs fasteners on the sides, not the corners, which means more torque, less rounding, and less slippage. So Cobalt tools can stand up to anything. From where I'm standing, that's a very good thing. Cobalt, setting the standard in mechanics tools. Made in the USA and guaranteed forever. At Lowe's Home Improvement Warehouse and online.
We will never, ever smoke up this house again. We are quitting with the patch.
Nicoderm CQ.
With the steps.
There's a lot to be said for steps.
Nicoderm CQ has 3 steps, so you can step down your dose gradually, the way doctors and pharmacists prefer.
Was this a great idea or what?
Commit to quit for the American Cancer Society's Great American Smokeout with Nicoderm CQ.
They said the marriage wouldn't happen. They said it wouldn't last. Okay, they were right. The big breakup is Tuesday.
Your husband looks like a leprechaun.
You think? Then, on Third Rock, plastic surgeon David Hasselhoff cuts up on Dick. And Will gets fired, but Grace comforts him.
Told you so. Told you so.
Mother of God, make her stop.
And the bonus Just Shoot Me, new comedy on NBC Tuesday.
Think your workout's tough? Just imagine swimming through treacherous ocean waters, cycling 112 miles in brutal heat, and running a grueling marathon all in one day. It's the most demanding test of endurance the human body can experience. The Ironman Triathlon, coming up next on NBC.
The Pennzoil 400 is over at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. Tony Stewart is your winner. Let's go to Mike Massaro in victory lane.
Well, an incredibly excited Home Depot team. Tony Stewart, his third win of the season. A new rookie record. The champagne is flying, and so is the confetti. And wow, what an emotion-filled victory lane right now. Tony Stewart up on top of his Home Depot Pontiac. Let's see if we can grab him for a quick question. And Tony, the records keep coming for you here early in your career. This one did not come easily, though. With your teammate, a little bumping and gouging. What happened?
We just both raced in there hard. I mean, more of a rookie mistake on my part than it was on his. I was mostly to blame. I hauled it off real hard in there, and, you know, I really wanted this one bad. And, you know, we both went in there like it was the last lap. I mean, he crowded me down, and I went in there too hard and split up. It was my fault, but, you know, I was not a better guy to race than Bobby like that for the win.
A ton of green flag laps here this afternoon. Did you have to adjust this car at all?
We made minor adjustments all day. I mean, we didn't do anything really big. The car was pretty good all day. Just, you know, we needed to basically just stay up with the racetrack all day.
And finally, 3 wins in your rookie season. You've got to be very excited.
I'm real excited. I mean, I thank God for getting me associated with Joe Gibbs Racing and Home Depot and Greg Zeppedelli. I mean, all these guys done a great job this year.
And the excitement continues down here. Let's go to Dorsey Schrader with Bobby Labonte.
Bobby Labonte, a fantastic race for you there.
It was a great run. This interstate Pontiac ran great all day. Just got a little too tight there at the end. I got to congratulate Tony. He did a great job today, won the race, and Dale Jarrett for winning the championship. We almost did everything we had to do, and Dale did everything he had to do. So it's been fun all year racing with him for the championship. We lost out, but learned a lot this year, and looking forward to Atlanta next weekend.
Well, your teammate made it pretty tight down there, bud.
Yeah, it was. You know, we're just trying to go for the same piece of real estate at the same time and, you know, going for the win.
Congratulations. Now let's go down to Marty.
Well, Dale Jarrett is the 1999 NASCAR Winston Cup champion with his family, daughter Natalie and Carson, as well as holding his son Zachary. And now you get to touch that trophy. It's got your face on it already. How about that?
I love this. Man, what a day. Let's start out by thanking God, all the talents for this race team, and giving me the opportunity to work with these people. Robert and Doug Yates, Carolyn, Todd Parrott, this entire group. You know, this all wouldn't have been possible without 2 guys that were Robert Yates before me, and we'd be remiss if we didn't thank Davey Allison for starting this whole thing and getting it to a championship level for us. And then Ernie Irvin coming in and doing his part. Being a great friend, a great teammate, and thank my family for all that they've done. It's just an awesome feeling. This is fantastic.
I got to ask you, is the reality as good as the dream and the fantasy was?
Much better, much better. This is just incredible to think that we're the best race team for a year. It's just unbelievable. It's almost hard to put into words what I feel for these guys, how much I love them, the job that they've done week in and week out. It's just unbelievable.
For your family, so many years in this sport, so many years working on getting you to this point, what does this mean to the Jarrett family?
You know, this sport's been awful good to the Jarrett family over the years, and it's now become the second father-son team to win a Winston Cup championship is pretty special to us, and hopefully we've given a little something back to the sport. Fans have just been fantastic to us. This is really an incredible feeling. Great day for the Jarrett family. Just hope that there's more to come. I want to thank all the fans for their support, everything they've done. Certainly congratulate Tony Stewart. What an awesome job he's done this year, all year long. This is unbelievable, man. This is what it's all about. Those days and nights of working nonstop and not being able to see the things that my kids were doing. It's all paid off.
Well, for the 3rd time in NASCAR history, Jarrett is king of the hill. Dale Jarrett, the 1999 NASCAR Winston Cup champion. Now let's go to Alan Bestwick.
His father, Ned, the NASCAR champion in 1961 and 1965, as Dale said, the second family members to both be Winston Cup title holders. The others, the Pettys, Father Lee and Richard, who won 3 and 7 titles, respectively.
Okay. Alan, I would say that, hey, one of the other people in this family right here, Kelly, deserves a nod. Let me say this. She may be as competitive as Dale is. I can remember about the 3rd or 4th race we're in, we set her with Pat on the top of a motorhome at North Wilkesboro, and I remember after about 10 laps, Pat said she jumped up and said, "That car's too tight." Went storming off. But she is a very competitive person, the whole family, and so it's exciting for them to see them have this day.
Dale Jarrett, the 23rd NASCAR Winston Cup champion in 51 years of competition, and that young man in the middle of the victory lane celebration there is probably going to be a champion someday soon. Tony Stewart, winner of the Pennzoil 400. More post-race interviews next. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
Some people get nervous when that door goes up. Not me. But then I deliver to all the shops. Nervous people like crunchy food. Don't sell much nervous food here.
Good wrench, good time savings means great deals, like brake service, front or rear, for only $99.99 or less. It's a good time to see GM Good Wrench Service Plus.
Good time savings? No wonder I don't sell any nervous food here.
Come on, girl, it's time to shake things up. Get a good groove, get out of the rut. Talking woman to woman, friend to friend, we've come a mighty long way. Let's do it again, changing for the better. Like we knew we could, doing it together. And it sure feels good. Change, 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 yeah, for the better.
As America's first choice in beer during the past century, we invite you to toast the new millennium with the same clean, crisp taste you've always enjoyed. Budweiser. Now in limited edition Millennium Magnums, bottles, and cans. Now, as always, this Bud's for you.
It's the greatest racing on earth. Excitement. Speed.
It's the driver. It's a rush. Exhilaration and acceleration.
Family fun.
Fast cars. Tough trucks.
The NASCAR Winston Cup Series, the NASCAR Busch Series, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. This is NASCAR.
NASCAR is racing.
NBC Monday, a heartless murder.
Sorry to have to tell you this, man.
An obvious suspect.
Convicted 11 years ago. Child molestation.
And when you think you know the ending, it doesn't end there.
DNA did not match the DNA we found on Ryan.
After all, this is Law and Order.
Jerk us around, we'll bury you.
Law and Order Special Victims Unit, Monday, 9, 8 Central.
NBC's presentation of NASCAR is brought to you by Pennzoil with Pure Base, made for the way you drive. Stop, go, Pennzoil. By Brewery Fresh Budweiser, official beer of NASCAR. Hey, race fans, this Bud's for you. And by AT&T One Rate 7-cent plan. One simple rate all day, every day.
The Bud One Airship has provided our aerial shots today from here in Homestead. To all racing fans, this Bud's for you. Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR. We appreciate their hard work today. Marty Snyder back down in the championship celebration.
Well, I know the two proudest people here, Miss Martha Jarrett right there and Ned Jarrett. And is this as good as you winning a championship?
Oh, it's much better. It's better than both of my championships put together and everything else that I was able to accomplish in the sport. It's just unbelievable. We're so proud of Dale, really for the type person he is. The type person he is in the community, the things that he does for his fellow man and his family, and what he does on the racetrack is a bonus. And boy, what a huge bonus this is.
Well, all those long nights, all that hard work, it all pays off right here, Alan.
Proud Papa Ned and Martha as well. And here are the championship standings as they stand after today's race. One race left to go in Atlanta next Sunday. Joe Gibbs, Mike Wallace, thank you so very much. It's been a terrific weekend here in Homestead. Let's go over to Brian Williams.
Alan, thank you. History, of course, was made here today. The first rookie ever to clinch 3 victories in 1 year. And, of course, the second only father-son Winston Cup championship team. Dale Jarrett and his father, Ned, of course, the past champion. It's been a special weekend. It's going to be a special couple of years for NASCAR coverage for NBC. I'm Brian Williams. For the technical staff and our on-air colleagues, thank you for being with us.
I thank God that I'm alive. And these are the moments I remember all my life. I found all I've waited for, and I could not ask for more. I could not ask for more than this time together. Could not ask for more than this time with you. And every breath has been answered, and every dream I have come true. Yeah, right here in this moment, it's right where I'm meant to be.
Hi, Dale. How'd you go today? Make good grades in school?
Now, my oldest son, Glenn, he is a good athlete, but Dale, he seems destined to become a race driver.
And these are the moments I thank God that I'm alive. And these are the moments I remember all my life. I've got all I've waited for, and I could not